Orlando. Hi, and welcome in to everybody tuning in over on YouTube. It's so good to see you. It's been a handful of days since we've done one of these streams. I took the weekend off to celebrate the 21st birthday, but we are back now, and we are not going to waste a moment and hop right into the debates. If you haven't been here before, we basically debate Trump supporters for around 4 hours to try to change the minds of those we're talking to, but also to give you guys more information if you happen to be a liberal watching from home, to turn around and talk to those in your own life that may support Trump. But we have our very first Trump supporter already tuned into the live stream. We have them connected with us over on TikTok. Their name is Orlando. Orlando, I'm going to give you the mic. Take it away. Tell us why you happen to support Donald Trump as president.
So our two options were Kamala and Trump, right?
Yep, Kamala and Trump, yes.
And, I chose to support Trump because, Kamala put hundreds of black men in jail for marijuana. And one of the...
Well, our first conversation is cut short, unfortunately. I couldn't expect that. So, I mean, usually I'm able to help them out before they make grave errors that'll make me kick them. But when you're on TikTok, now this is a really strange rule. I'm not personally a fan of it. If you say the name of any DRUG, or you just even say the word DRUG, that's why I'm spelling it out instead of saying it, you get banned on TikTok. And if I have a guest that will say the name of a DRUG on my life and I don't immediately kick them, my stream will get taken down. It is a very silly rule, okay? We could all look at that rule and be like, yo, what the hell? But unfortunately, it is one nonetheless, and we have to work around the TikTok TY. So for that last guest, Mr. Orlando, if you have another account, feel free to pop up on that. Just make sure that you don't say the name of a DRUG again. But I mean, I don't really fault him for that. Like, how could he possibly know? But unfortunately, we still do have to move on nonetheless. We're going to get that next guest up here. What is going on? Do you support Trump Power Games?
Yes, I do.
Okay, how do you?
I'm 18.
Ooh, and what time is it?
The reason why I support Trump
very quickly, what time is it, my friend?
What do you mean?
I mean what I said. What time is it?
What time is it for me now?
Yes, precisely.
Because I like Trump's big fat cock, mate.
Okay, that was not a time. That was not a time. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next guest. We're going to go ahead and repeat the rules, okay? If you want to join the stream, you got to be an American adult that supports Trump as president, that is ready and willing to come up here and debate us. Now, if you're breaking those rules, you're going to get banned very, very fast, okay? And we're not fucking around today, okay? We're not fucking around, guys. I am back from my two-day break, feeling more energetic than ever, and I am ready and willing to enforce these rules, and I remove them as fast as possible. I'm really sorry that everyone on TikTok had to see that. We got them out as fast as we possibly could. They should be arrested, 110%. But we're going to move on to the next guest right now. Let's go and get Willie K loading up into live. Here we go, everyone. Do give us a second to get that next guest connected. What is going on, Willie K? Do you support Trump? And Willie K automatically left. We're going to move on to the next guest, Trent Brown, right now. What's up, Trent? Do you support Trump?
No, Diva, but you're so hot.
I got to kick you. I'm so sorry. We're just looking for Trump supporters. Moving on to the next guest. Here we go. All right, moving on. Fantastic. What's going on? Do you support Trump, Brody? No, Brody left too, guys. We have been experiencing a Trump supporter shortage as of recently. They are going extinct. They're almost all gone. But we're going to get that next guest up on the live nonetheless. We got Lucas loading in right now. If you happen to be one of the very first 4.5 thousand people watching over on TikTok and you want to join because you support Trump, let me know down below. We'll get you pulled up. We got that next guest, Lucas, loaded in. What is up, my friend? Do you support Trump? And Lucas is not even here. Look at that. Lucas got in the queue like 5 seconds before we loaded him up. By the time he was up here, he was already gone. No clue what's going on today. But hey, if you're over on TikTok, make sure that you're double tapping. That will ensure we can get the live to push out to more people. So hopefully we truly can get a debate going. But man, like I said, the Trump supporters, they don't want to talk to me. I couldn't tell you why. Maybe because they're scared. Maybe because Donald Trump has been doing a lot of indefensible shit lately, like renaming the Department of Defense to Department of War, and then posting something on Twitter about them like invading Chicago, militarizing our cities against our civilians. That is just insane. But like I said, guys, we still don't have a single Trump supporter in here. Maybe we should just start shitting on Trump, and to see if anybody wants to come up here and correct me, right? Quote unquote. I don't know what it is, but hey, real quick, Osiris, thank you for the very first super chat of the day with the $20, saying favorite time of the debate, get them. What else did they say? Here's to good debates with MAGA, willing to listen, GG. Well, thank you for the $20, Osiris. That is incredibly kind of you. For everybody watching, let's get 200 Osiris W's once again while we're still looking for this very first Trump supporter that we still can't find. So we're going to try my strategy that I just laid out. So we have a lot of people in the TikTok already. Here's my thoughts. Donald Trump sucks. Okay, not only is his character deplorable, but he's a raging hypocrite with what he promised prior to the election, with what he's doing now. He promised to release the Epstein files. They're nowhere to be found. He promised to be a president of peace. Now he's renaming the DOD to the Department of War and militarizing our National Guard against our civilians in our big cities like Chicago. Not to mention his economic policy just sucks. It's like a quadruple whammy on poor people that has cut GDP growth in half and reduced purchasing power for over 50% of Americans, according to the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities. Meanwhile, this whole time we could have had a president, who's doing none of these things, actually fought for the working class, actually fought for the future of this country, and wasn't belligerently posting on the internet like a 3-year-old with anger issues, What's up, Brody? Do you support Trump?
Hello? No, I used to.
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to remove you, my friend. I am happy to hear that you no longer support him today, but we are just looking for people that still support Trump, guys. Those are the rules. Make sure that if you're in the queue, you're following him. Moving on to the next guest. Here we go. As well as, hey, couple people I got to thank here. Jolly and Sarah, I appreciate you both for the $5 over on Venmo. As well as Alexia with the $5 on Venmo saying the Wall Street Journal published the Trump Epstein birthday letter. No way, Alexia. Thank you for letting me know. I'm going to have to take a look at that. As well as Wendy, thank you so much for the $5 on Venmo saying, so glad you're back. Looking forward to a good day. Well, hopefully we have a good day, but that will definitely start with a single Trump supporter out of the over 6,000 people watching on TikTok to come up here and talk to me. We're over 10 minutes into the stream, and we still haven't spoken with one. So, hey, listen, if you want to change, the tune of the live stream, you want to give representation to the voice of the supporters of the president, hop in that queue because that's what we're looking for. But I'm going to be honest, folks. Right now, we're not seeing any Trump supporters in here. None at all. What's up? Do you support Trump, TJR?
Of course.
And how old are you?
19.
And what year are you born in?
2006.
And what month?
August.
Okay, I think that maths. Take it away. Why do you support Trump?
Because he's a great guy.
He's a great guy. Are you trolling? I mean, you kind of sound like it. You kind of got that sound in your voice. It's coming off like you're not being serious. Are you seriously a Trump supporter, TJR?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And why is that? Let's get a serious answer this time.
Because of the immigration. He stopped immigration.
He stopped immigration. Like legal immigration or undocumented immigration?
Undocumented.
Okay, and how did he do that?
He closed the borders.
Okay, and how did he close the borders?
I don't fucking know.
You don't know how he closed the borders, but I'm guessing that he closed the borders because you've seen the reduction in undocumented entries. Here's my things. I don't think he reduced undocumented entry with any good policy. I think he did it with fascism. All immigrants, documented or not, want to come to this country for a better life, but Donald Trump has been illegally deporting undocumented immigrants where they were then beaten and tortured and starved in a center for terrorists in another country for 3 weeks, or deporting them without due process, disregarding their human and constitutional rights. That's almost, right, promising undocumented immigrants a worse life. So maybe that's why we see lower entry numbers. But that's not a good thing. It's very immoral because, well, it's human rights abuse, and short term because as soon as we have a president that isn't a fascist, that'll stop.
Well, I think they all shouldn't be here anyway, so.
Okay, so are you just basically telling me that you're okay with violating their human rights if it means that we're removing them from the country?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, I think that makes you an incredibly bad person. How would you feel if I violated your human rights, right? How do you feel if I wanted to play dictator, got some type of electoral power in the country, stripped you of your constitutional rights, put you in the back of a plane, sent you to center for terrorists in another country where you lost 30 pounds in 3 weeks? Meanwhile, I had guards torture you and beat you if you were to fall out of exhaustion between 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. How'd that make you feel?
Well, they're immigrants. I'm not an immigrant.
But if I did this to you, even though you're not an immigrant, it would be really bad, right?
If I was an immigrant, I would say, yeah, go ahead and do it.
Okay. All right. Well, I have a feeling that, you're just trolling. I would find some better way to rage bait that doesn't make you just a total a-hole. We're going to move on to the next guest. Hop in that queue of you sports Trump. Let's go and get that next guest, Ryan, up here. Hop in that queue of your MAGA. We'll get you connected. What's up, Ryan? Do you support Trump? Okay. Ryan left. Moving on to the next guest. We got Drewski connecting to the live. Hop in that queue of you support Trump. What's up, Drewski? Do you support Trump?
Hey, so I'd say not 100%, but I'm more right leaning.
So overall, we put you in a time machine, sent you back to November. You'd still vote for Trump?
Well, I would, yeah.
Okay.
So I voted for Trump this former election.
And you'd still do it again, like after the last 250 days?
I mean, I'd say honestly, both of the presidents, not really great options, but if it did come down to it, yeah.
Okay. All right. Why?
I'm not really the biggest on politics, not the best on politics, but it just seems like the right side of the country was more America first,
America
I'm not
first? I disagree.
Yeah, no, and I could see why you would disagree with that, especially with all the funding towards Israel and
Well, there's one big reason, but I mean, I was actually going to start off with something a little bit more intuitively obvious. One of the core values of this country, the document that it was literally founded upon, is our Constitution, right? And well, guess what? Donald Trump doesn't give a fuck about it. That's a big difference between him and Kamala Harris. She was an attorney. She cared about the Constitution. She went to school for 12 years just to learn how to uphold it, right? Meanwhile, he called for its termination in December of 2022 and has violated it like 6 or 7 times in the last 200 days. I feel like it's every week we get a new ruling from a new court just saying he's violated it again. I mean, you can't get any more American last than that, right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't believe either option was the better option. Next election, definitely, I'm gonna be looking more at both sides, but I think we just need someone that'll put us first. Big thing, and I think what led me to vote for Trump was a lot of the immigration policies and just saying that we should keep putting Americans first, and he hasn't really done what he said he's gonna do. And
even what he said he was gonna do is gonna put you last. It's a big lie. The big lie is that mass deportation puts you first. Mass deportation hurts you. Mass deportation isn't just bad for the undocumented immigrants. It's bad for the citizens because of how much undocumented immigrants contribute to this country and this country's economy. Okay? According to the American Immigration Council, if we were to remove all undocumented immigrants in this country tomorrow, our GDP would go down by close to $2 trillion per year. Think about the reciprocal effects that it'll have on you and all the other citizens working in the market, as a functioning member of our economy. That's going to hurt you. It's going to reduce wages, average wages. It's going to reduce average qualities of life. It's going to reduce the productive capacities of our manufacturers. It's going to destabilize our industries, increase our levels of poverty. All these things hurt you.
Oh yeah, I mean the economy is absolutely terrible, and that is mostly Trump's fault. But I do have some sort of a personal thing to it. I saw a lot of just during the Biden administration, and I don't know if this is 100. I don't have all the facts to back this up, so I don't know if this is 100%. But I'm just kind of going off of what I've kind of seen. So the fentanyl crisis in America.
Dude, he got zapped. Okay. Maybe I just need to repeat this more frequently. You can't say the name of any DRUG on TikTok. It is a silly rule. To that we could agree. Okay. You should be able to talk about DRUGs in the way that guest did. Okay. Right? Saying, boo, they're bad, right? We have an issue. We have a crisis. We need to figure out how to solve it. Regardless if his position was true or false, we should still be able to have that conversation. But in accordance with TikTok TOS, if you even say the name of a DRUG, regardless of the context, they consider you to be promoting the usage of it. And that's why they restrict you. So that's why I had to remove him. We're going to move on to the next guest. We got Braden loading up. Hop in that QView Sport Trump. For the 8.8 thousand people hanging out with us over on TikTok, guys, make sure that we're double tapping on that phone screen and sharing this live out with a handful of friends. What's up? Do you support Trump, Braden?
I support him as a leader, not as a person.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think that facts of his person tell us about how able he is to lead, right? Can we agree that positions of leadership, such as the presidency, they're roles of public service, not self-service?
I believe as a president you need power, and I believe Trump holds a lot more power than the other candidate.
Nick, thank you so much for the galaxy. I'd arguably say that he holds less, and I'll tell you why after I ask you how old you are. How old are you?
I'm 19.
And what year were you born in?
2006, February 6th.
Okay. Yeah, one reason why he holds less power than Kamala Harris would have is because he doesn't care about the Constitution, and he's also like really uneducated on it. I mean, shit, he told a news reporter from ABC he didn't even know if he had to hold to it or not. And for that reason, a lot of the things that he's tried to do since his term begun have been unconstitutional. And when he does something that's unconstitutional, the courts limit his power to do it because it's illegal, meaning that he hasn't had the power to do a lot of what he wanted to do. Now, if Kamala Harris was elected, somebody that respects the Constitution, knows it, she was a lawyer, makes sense, she would have had a lot more power as her interests would have been aligned, legally speaking, with the Constitution, not illegally speaking, out of accordance with the Constitution.
Do you not agree that Kamala Harris, the whole election, was putting on somewhat of an act to get votes?
I don't know why you're pivoting. Can you address my last point? She would have wielded much more power as president just because what she wanted to do was legal, not illegal like Trump.
What is so illegal that Trump's doing up?
Yeah, for sure. A lot
Exactly.
of his tariffs, for one. We had a federal court literally last week limit his power to enact his tariffs because they're unconstitutional. That power would rest with Congress, as well as executive orders like banning the burning of the American flag, banning birthright citizenship for the children of undocumented immigrants. All of these things are belligerently unconstitutional. Or, like another example, wanting to run for a third term. All of these things are belligerently unconstitutional. Not only paints him to be a wannabe authoritarian dictator, since he doesn't respect our checks and balances, but ultimately makes him not as powerful as one could be if they were to follow the Constitution, since the courts are limiting so many of his actions.
I'm talking about powerful over other countries, I guess. Not powerful, like
Well,
powerful.
then I'm
in the
not quite
sense
sure what
where
you mean.
I'm worried about feeling safe living here, personally.
Oh, dude, how could you feel more safe living in America when our current president renamed the Department of Defense to the Department of War? It is now like posting AI like shit on Twitter about how the Department of War is going to invade our cities like Chicago.
Why is that like the biggest deal though? I'm not saying that in a sense. I really don't understand why renaming something is that big of a deal.
Well, I'm just simply saying, how could you possibly feel more safe with a wannabe authoritarian in office, renaming the DoD to the Department of War, and then militarizing the Department of War against their civilians? How could that possibly make you feel safer?
At the end of the day, what he does with our military, we have more military than ever, and there's no country really other than, if I guess countries combined, would you say? I don't know. I feel like there's no country that can come take the US and really hurt us. And
Okay.
that's what I'm worried about.
I totally agree with you, man, but that has nothing to do with my point. Like, what do you think my point was? No, my point was that you said that you feel more safe with Trump as president. And then my response to that was to say, how can you, A, feel more safe with a president that is limiting your constitutional rights illegally, B, feel more safe with a president that is renaming the Department of Defense
How
to
is he
Department...
limiting my constitutional rights illegally?
Yeah, for sure. He tried to ban burning of the American flag 2 weeks ago. That is an infringement upon your First Amendment right to freedom of speech, my friend.
Okay.
Right? And I mean, there's many other examples
Is there
right?
more to that? Like, is there
Well, I mean,
more
there's
things
other.
he's done?
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
done?
Well, I mean, if you were an undocumented immigrant, actually, a citizen, not an undocumented immigrant, and you were born to parents that were undocumented immigrants in this country, Donald Trump has been trying to limit your 14th Amendment right to birthright citizenship illegally since his first day in office with Executive Order number 14160. If you were trans, last week, Donald Trump attempted to illegally limit your right to own a gun at all. I mean, that even had the alt-right NRA shooting back at him saying that every law-abiding American citizen should have the right to own a gun. And I mean, on top of a whole long list of other things, I mean, I think that those are some of the most important. And, regardless if your parents are undocumented immigrants or not, regardless if you're trans or not, I think the point that you should take away here is that he has no problem playing a wannabe dictator. He has no problem trying to illegally infringe upon the constitutional rights of citizens of this country, given that he doesn't like them. What if there comes a day when he doesn't like you?
Okay, I can see where you're coming from for sure. Um, and honestly, you did change my point, or not my point, my mindset on that. But are I'm really trying to get more knowledge. Are you not for illegal immigration? I'm kind of switching the topic here because this was talked about a couple times before me.
Yeah.
Are you for illegal immigration, like coming into our country undocumented? Do you think it's okay?
Well, no, I think that's bad. I think undocumented immigration is bad for a handful of reasons. I just think that everybody, like on the right and the left in mainstream media, has the solutions a little bit wrong. Okay, right? I think the way that we should fix the issue of undocumented immigration into this country, which I do think is an issue for a multiplicity of reasons, is by just making the legal means of entry into the country more attainable. Most people that enter into this country without documentation do it because getting documentation would take 25 years and cost tens of thousands of dollars. Okay, let's make it take maybe 2 months, make it free. All of a sudden, undocumented entry is no longer a problem. And then for the undocumented immigrants that are already in this country, removing them will really hurt this country, hurt it so much, destroy the economy. So what should we do instead? Simply offer them a pathway to residency or citizenship, given that they haven't done certain things such as prior violent offenses, pretty crazy non-violent criminal offenses, and so on. I think that's the solution. It's what is best for this country
I agree with
and
that.
best for the immigrants.
I agree with that. I think it's extremely wrong to skip the line because there's plenty of people from other countries waiting to be allowed to come here and immigrate here.
Oh, okay.
But
You lose me there. I don't think it's extremely wrong. I just don't think it's preferable. And the reason I don't think it's extremely wrong is because I think our legislators have intentionally set up a system where the legal entry was unattainable to a vast majority, knowing that it would cause undocumented entry, so people like Trump could run on fixing it, then do nothing about it. I think it was very by design and intentional.
Well, I mean, look what would happen if you go to look what would happen if I go to Russia just undocumented. What would they do with me? You know, it's why are we so wrong for? I think it's wrong that we're taking people off the streets. Don't get me wrong, that's wrong because there's a lot of people that do a lot good for our country, but why should we be looked so wrongly for like wanting to remove the illegal immigration?
Because the wrongness of an action isn't derived from a comparison to another action that's also wrong.
Okay,
think
but
about it.
it's
Think
not
about it this
like-
way: if I could just like spit off like 10 countries on this planet that literally killed people for undocumented entry into their country, do you think that you would say, well, if we just started torturing all of our undocumented immigrants, right? Why should anybody judge that since other countries are doing worse by literally killing them? No, not at all, right? Because we should be attempting to set the golden standard. We shouldn't just merely be trying to do the same or slightly better than other countries and then feel good about ourselves. No, we should be trying to do what is best, right? And what is best is not to do a mass deportation of every undocumented immigrant. That hurts you, it hurts me, it hurts the country, it hurts the country's economy, and most importantly, it hurts the immigrants. We should be doing what is best, which is something else, offering them a pathway to residency or citizenship. Who gives a fuck what Russia is doing? We should not use what Russia is doing to determine what we should.
I'm not saying we should determine it. What I'm using that as an example of look around the world. Pretty much every other country, you're not going to be able to go there undocumented and start a new life there with no consequences.
And how does this statement refute absolutely anything that I said in justifying that we should have mass amnesty? Are you saying even though mass amnesty is obviously the best option here, since it leads to the best outcomes, and that's something you cannot refute, you still don't think we should be doing it since other countries aren't either? Well, I don't know, man. I thought that the GOP believed in American excellence. I thought that you guys are always the ones screaming and shouting about how we're the best country on earth. We should be making life easier for the generations after us than the generations before us. And we genuinely have a chance here to literally set the golden standard for immigration policy, to create the world that we would envision as better. And you're telling us that we should intentionally hold ourselves back just because other countries are intentionally holding themselves back too? That makes no goddamn sense.
I'm not saying we should hold ourselves back at all. That is not what I'm saying at all. I'm talking why are we looked at? I'm asking, why are we looked at so wrongly for making consequences for the people that come in here illegally when it's everywhere all around the world?
Okay.
Is it not?
I've already tried to respond to this about 1 billion times. You're not listening to what I'm saying, and then you're repeating the question. I will tell you, though, I definitely look at you as a hypocrite, because if you think that an infraction on federal law, committing a misdemeanor of undocumented entry, if that's wrong enough to warrant a removal, well, then why don't you think that 35 felonies in a civil adjudication for grape isn't wrong enough to, at the bare minimum, warrant the removal of a president from the White House?
That's exactly you got me there.
Right, like that's a little hypocritical. You're over here telling me, oh, like it's not wrong at all to literally kick somebody out of the country for a misdemeanor, but I'm going to defend a felon rapist as president?
I'm not trying to defend anything he's done. Trust me. I'm defending the job he's done, not anything he's done outside of being the president.
So listen to yourself. You're literally saying that you're okay with a rapist being our president
I
because
never
you think at
said
the
I
end of
was
the,
okay with it. You're just putting words in my mouth now.
if you're not okay
You
with Trump
never-
being president, then you're not a Trump supporter.
I said I'm okay. I'm okay with the job. There's a difference between the person you are and the job you're doing.
No, because
Yeah,
it's
you
a
can-
person doing the job.
No, it's a job. You're going to a job. It's not who you are. Just because Donald Trump is our president doesn't mean everything he's done wrong before that is automatically it automatically needs to be top of the line looked at. No. He's here for what the president needs to
Wait,
do,
so-
not for
So do you agree with like McDonald's policy of not hiring felons?
I
Violent
mean,
felons? Yeah, I think he's leaving.
know that they don't hire felons.
So do you agree with their policy of not hiring violent felons?
I'd say yes.
So you think that we should be more critical of the background of minimum wage employees than the president?
We should be critical. What is Donald Trump? All right. Has he been Has he been guilty for any of his allegations?
Yeah, he was found guilty of 34 felonies and found guilty of grape.
He was found guilty and nothing happened to him.
Well, yeah. Well, what happened to him in the grape case is he has to now pay the victim $87 million. But for the felonies, yeah, he was found guilty and nothing happened to him. He was found guilty after his second term begun. The judge determined that, you know, if they gave Trump a sentence for the felonies, it'd probably like run the country into the ground because then our president would literally be in jail. So they let him off scot-free.
Okay, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. The sentence was nothing for that reason.
Most of the reason I even wanted to talk today is just to get more knowledge.
Okay.
To be honest.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, listen, if you're just kind of generally looking for more knowledge, what I'd recommend to you is just to kind of watch the stream compared to being on it. But I mean, if you have any other points that you'd like to run by me, feel free to.
No, I think that's all good. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, man. I'm going to go to move on to the next guest. I guess before I do, one last thing I'll leave you with here is definitely like throw out that mindset of just saying that, well, you think he's doing a good job, therefore you're going to ignore all the facts of his being. Because point number one, you got to remember that like the person who Trump is going to have an impact on what he does as president, right? Like I think if a man grapes a woman, that man lacks necessary virtues of empathy and care for other people, right? Now you're telling me that this man who lacks these necessary virtues of empathy and care for other people is going to be excellent performing in a position of public service. I think that on its own is enough to reject the support for the guy. And it's just incredibly relevant to think about those things. And when you tell us that we shouldn't think about those things, we should ignore those things, I think that you're just inspiring more anti-intellectualism to ultimately suit and fit the narrative of supporting a wannabe dictator and as our president. But I'm going to move on to the next guest. Braden, you take care. Let's go to get that next Trump supporter loaded in. If you're in that queue, make sure it's because you support Trump. And we're going to get that next guest up here right now. We got Kevin loading in. While we got Kevin loading in, a couple people I'd like to thank here. Lori, thank you so much for the $50 super chat over on YouTube. Lori, that is very kind of you. For everybody in here, show some love to Lori down below. Let's get 500 Lori W's. Lori says, W. Dean, hope your time off was amazing. You know, Lori, it was really good. I got to be a regular 21-year-old for once. And I'm feeling super refreshed and ready to hit these debates. So I appreciate you for that $50, Lori. Very kind of you. What is up, Kevin? Do you support Trump?
I do support him. Yes.
Okay,
And
are you
just to kind of
are you driving?
no, I'm sitting in my truck.
Okay,
I'm not driving though.
can you disconnect from your car's Bluetooth? You're a little bit quiet.
Oh yeah, hang on one second.
No worries. While you're doing that, I'm going to thank a couple other people. Calcor, thank you for the $10 over on Super Chat, saying it's weird how America used to be anti-Russia and now the GOP is pro-Putin. Dude, it's not weird. It's insane, right? As well as, hey, yo, Sarah, thank you for the $10 over on Venmo. Thank you so much. That is very kind of you. Thank you, Sarah. And then Juan, thank you so much for the $50 donation on Venmo. That is very kind of you. Thank you so much, Juan. That is Juan. Let's get 500 Juan W's. Juan says, a sitting American president declaring war in an American city is treason. You know what? I agree with that. He renamed it to the Department of War, and now he's sending them after Americans. Is that an act of war? According to the name of the department, it sure is. I appreciate you for your thoughts, Juan, and once again, thank you for the $50. As well as Sammy and more, appreciate you for the $5 and the $2. And then Nicole, Kristen, and Catherine with the $5 over on PayPal. Thank you guys so much for the love. Show some love to our donors down below. And if you want to support me, you can find my Venmo and my PayPal in the link tree in my bio. Now, Kevin, take it away. Why do you support Trump as president?
Yeah, well, first of all, I would say that I don't want him to fail. I guess that's probably the best way to say how much I support him. You know, he is the president. I don't feel as though we should be sitting around hoping that the guy fails, because if he fails, that means that we fail. I mean, that's pretty logical. But the other thing is to just kind of follow up on what the guy before you was saying. I don't think that it's unreasonable to want him to be successful as the president and yet not agree with the different things that he's done in his personal life. And
I think that
what I mean by
that you're misunderstanding a very crucial part of this conversation, Kevin. It's not that I want Trump to fail. It's just that he has.
Well, I wouldn't say that he's completely failed, because there are things that you can point towards that have been successful. But getting back, just to finish up the point I was making, to continue to call him a grapist is a little disingenuous, in the fact that he was found guilty in civil court of slander and libel on, and that's why he's being sued the $83 million. They didn't prove.
Where's the other five? He wasn't. Where's the other five? So the total suit is for $87 million. You just said
whatever it is.
You just said that
he
owes her. You just said that he owes her $83 million for slander.
87 million or something like that.
No, you were right. He actually does owe her $83 million for slander.
Yeah, for slander.
Where's the other? Where's the other $4 million coming from?
That I don't know, but what I'm getting at
I do. It's from the grape. He was held liable for both slander and grape.
In civil court.
Yes, in civil court. Absolutely. Kevin.
Yeah. So he's definitely he's not convicted rapist. He's going. A civil court ruled in against him. Yes.
We're losing him here. But
are you there?
Yeah. So now you're back. So let's just pick up where we left off. You told me that I'm disingenuous for calling him a rapist, even though he was proven to have raped Each and Carroll in a civil court. So why is it disingenuous for me to call him a
civil
rapist?
Court, yeah. Well, he's never been criminally convicted of a violent crime, which was what you were alluding to a minute ago.
Okay, I've never alluded.
He's never been criminally convicted.
We're still losing him. So I've never alluded to him being criminally convicted of rape.
I'm literally right here. I don't know why you keep saying you're losing me.
I am losing you. It's because it's definitely lagging a little bit.
Getting back to
I don't want to move on yet. Why do you think that the outcome of that civil court is not sufficient reason to call him a rapist?
Because it's only civil court, as you know. I mean, you're really smart, and I enjoy listening to you and your feed, even though I don't necessarily agree all the time, but I do agree sometimes. It's just that it's a propensity, you know, 50.1% that it happened. It's more likely that it happened than not, but you can't prove it beyond a shadow, beyond a reasonable doubt.
Wrong. And what you just said is
And-
wrong. So 50% of what you said was right. The other 50% of what you said was wrong. So you're right in the fact that the standard of evidence inside of a civil court is that of a preponderance of evidence, which would suggest that an event is more likely to occur than not occur,
Yeah.
which would suggest a minimum level of evidence or certainty to be 50.1%. You're right. However, there's no maximum. You could be held liable in civil court with the evidentiary standard, that being a preponderance, even if you have certain evidence that they did something. So even if Donald Trump was caught on camera raping E. Jean Carroll, and we knew that he was guilty with 100% certainty, and he was held liable in a civil court, it still would have been with that same standard of evidence that being a preponderance, right? And I believe as the evidence that was suggested inside of the civil court that ultimately did hold him liable for rape did prove it beyond any reasonable shadow of a doubt. I think if we consider all facts of that civil court, you would have no reasonable doubt to the evidence suggested. But Kevin,
So,
I'm losing you.
and I appreciate your, bro. I mean, I can hear you clear as day. I'm not sure why it's lagging. But what I'm saying is that you're entitled to that opinion, obviously. But if
Kevin, feel free to request up later when you're back on your home Wi-Fi. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The lag there was getting a little bit annoying. Feel free to request up later when you're on your home Wi-Fi. I'll happily continue my conversation with you then. Unfortunately, for now, I am just going to move on to the next guest, just because of the lag introduced by your connection there. But we're going to move on to the next guest right now, guys. Go and put a MAGA in that chat with your age if you'd like to come up and have a conversation with us. We're going to get that next guest, Britt, up here literally right now, folks. In the meantime, Hannah, thank you so much for the $13 over on Venmo. Saying guilty, still guilty. The jury found him guilty. The mental gymnastics these people do to excuse his abhorrent behavior is wild. Yeah, man. I mean, nothing new. They've been doing this forever, and it's crazy that they do it. But thank you for the $13 on Venmo, Hannah. Show some love to Hannah down below. As well as Caleb. Thank you for the $10 over on Venmo. That is very kind of you. Thank you, Caleb and Hannah, as well as Kalia with the $10. And thank you for doing the Lord's work out here. Well, thank you so much for the love, Kayla. Show some love to Caleb and Hannah down below in that chat, you guys. And what's going on, Britt? Do you support Trump?
No, I don't.
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to remove you here. Just looking to talk to Trump supporters, as those are the rules. Moving on to that next guest, Gray. Here we go, folks. Diane, thank you for the 3-month sub over on TikTok. That's pretty cool. What's up, Gray? Do you support Trump?
Yes, I do.
How old are you?
30.
Great, man. Do you have AirPods, earbuds, headphones connected to your phone?
Yeah, right. I got Meta glasses.
Okay. Can you disconnect the Meta glasses?
Yeah.
I mean, their mic's decent. I will say it's decent. It's just going to be a little bit better. There we go.
How is it now?
Yeah, 10 times better, Gray. Take it away. Why do you support the worst president of your life, Donald J. Trump?
I mean, it's not even that I support him personally so much. It's just that the other side has made it to the point where the other side is just such an unappealing option that, I mean, you're kind of left with no choice these days.
Okay, all right. So you're basically telling us if Harris won the election, things would be worse off. So therefore, you were left no choice in voting for Trump and still supporting him today. Make it clear for me and everyone watching. How would America be worse off if Harris had won the election?
I mean, mainly the open border policy. You know, that was my number one reason for voting. But what was her open border policy?
Just
retracting, Trump's border policy when they got into office and essentially opening up the border.
So what specific Trump border policy did the Biden-Harris administration retract that you think opened the borders?
I'm not, technical in all the policy, but the remain in Mexico and maybe title something.
That didn't open the borders. What was the remain in Mexico policy, my friend?
Well, I don't know the policy, but they went from, turning people away at the border to pretty much accepting everybody and giving them court dates and releasing them into the country. And then also
you're talking about asylum seekers. Asylum seekers are legal immigrants.
Yeah, but 90% of the claims are false.
No, it's
so
actually
that's
not
where
true. It's closer to 70 that are ultimately rejected by the courts. And I think that they should be able to stay and wait in the country.
So you're
while their
saying under
claims-
Biden,
okay.
70% of asylum
I would
seekers were
appreciate
turned
it.
away.
I would appreciate it if you'd allow me to finish speaking.
Under Biden, we're 70% turned away.
Well,
Yes or no?
I'm gonna finish my statement, and I'm not
Okay.
going to comply with any of your demands that are derivative of a mid-sentence interruption.
Well, it's a pretty, okay, go.
All right. So I think that a majority of asylum claims are ultimately rejected by the courts. I think a lot of reasons for that are people that don't show up to the courts, so their claim is automatically rejected, as well as like high standards. But anyways, nonetheless, I think the solution for the asylum seeking process into this country isn't to make them wait in another country. That's really unorganized, and that's also kind of putting their lives on the line. I think that we've seen significantly higher rates of rape, higher rates of abuse, higher rates of murder, unaliving, etc., when we have asylum seekers waiting in Mexico compared to America. But rather, the better solution is to have them wait in America, but streamline the process instead of making the court making the process take a year and a half, or then they're left in America without the ability to work. Make it take a month and give them a work permit the first day they come into the country. That's how we do it.
Well, so my question is this. You think after the 5 million, 10 million, whatever number is that came in under Biden, you think we should still continue
There
to
was
take
not
in?
there was not 10 million asylum seekers that came in.
I said
under Biden.
5 million to 10 million.
There was
whatever
not
the
5
number is.
to 10 million. That's not true.
So what was the number?
I think that like 5% of immigrants are asylum seekers. So like maybe a couple 100,000. If even, that's like a very conservative estimate insofar as what we'd see people on the right say. But what you're referring to, the millions of immigrants, that is what the Republicans like to say about undocumented immigrants as a whole. But undocumented immigrants are not asylum seekers.
Well, I consider them all the same to me. I don't care if these I don't think we should accept asylum seekers because of the point we've gotten to. Yes, if we would have been strict on asylum seeking from the beginning, I'm cool with the idea of it, but the system is obviously so broken, which I'm sure you can admit, that it just at least needs to be scrapped and all asylum needs to stop until it gets figured out. But until
So why
then,
should we stop asylum?
because the system is obviously not working properly.
What specifically about the system is broken that needs to be fixed?
The fact that so many came in.
That we had a lot?
Yes.
How many did we have?
Well, see, like I said, I consider illegal immigrants and asylum seekers the same thing. They all come here seeking asylum.
So what is an undocumented immigrant?
An undocumented immigrant is someone who came into the country and is undocumented and illegal.
So doesn't have documentation and is illegal in the sense that they broke federal law coming into the country?
Well, I'm pretty sure there was a loophole under the Biden administration where technically they didn't break the law per se.
Wait, so then they're not illegal?
Technically, yes, technically.
So technically, undocumented immigrants can't even be deported because deportation would be the crime for breaking the law. It would be the punishment for the crime. And if they didn't commit the crime,
I'm saying
then the
they
punishment would be unwarranted.
were falsely admitted. So yes, people that were falsely admitted can get deported.
Wait, so they were falsely admitted. So now you just think that all undocumented immigrants were... So if all undocumented immigrants legally came into the country, then why should we punish them by deporting them?
Because it was obviously a terrible policy decision that Biden made, and someone has to step up. What was
that policy decision, by the way? What
It was his
policy
rhetoric.
did Biden implement that changed that law? No, rhetoric can't change the law because you're literally suggesting that he changed the law.
So you tell
and made
me, why did it
undocumented
go-
entry legal.
why-
No, you're
so-
not going to
so you
shift.
tell-
You're not going to shift the goalpost here, my friend. You told
No,
me
I'm
that
not
the
shifting
Biden
anything. I'm saying
administration literally changed the law and made undocumented entry legal. Okay, rhetoric can't do that. So how did he change the law to make undocumented entry legal?
All right, answer my question. Why?
I'm not going to answer
under
shit, my
Trump-
friend. You're going to answer my question, not the other way around.
Well, it has to do with the question. It's like completely correlated with the question. I'm saying
No, it cannot be. It cannot be correlated with the question that I asked you.
Well, no,
because
no. So
any
here's your
possible
answer.
answer to my question would be the name of a policy or an executive order.
I don't know the answer to your question, but I do know it was something because something changed. And you know it because you're all into this kind of stuff. So
How do
you
you know that
the
something
answer.
changed?
Because I watched a lot less migrants come into the country under Trump, and then a whole lot more, multitudes more come in under Biden. So something
you're
had
telling
to
me
change.
that because we had more entry under Biden, that therefore Biden made undocumented entry legal.
So do you think it was
Utter
as
nonsense.
easy?
Could you just affirm that that's your argument?
I didn't hear what you said, but
So is
do
your
you
argument,
think,
okay, then I'll repeat myself if you didn't hear me. Is your argument that because we had more entry under Biden, that therefore Biden literally made undocumented entry legal?
no, but he made it easier to get into the country under Trump. That's a fact.
Oh, okay.
Period.
So now you're completely changing the argument, but this has a lot of unforeseen consequences for what you've been arguing so far. Because you did tell us for around 5 minutes that Biden literally made undocumented entry legal, right?
I'm pretty sure, yes.
Okay. All right. So once again, that would mean that your argument is that because there's more entry under Biden, therefore Biden made it legal?
Biden made it. I'm pretty sure he changed some stuff around, whether it was a law or whatever, that made it easier to get into the country. That is true. He changed stuff that made it easier to get into the country. Period.
Okay. What did he change?
I'm not sure. You know, but you won't say it.
Okay.
You know, but you won't say
Okay,
it.
I hear your argument. Your argument is that because there's more entry under Biden, that therefore Biden made it easier. This is a very common correlation causation fallacy, sir. You cannot assume just because two variables are associated with one another, such as border entries under Biden, that therefore Biden caused it by changing the policy. I'm going to go ahead and turn your logic around on you to show you how misled it is. Under the Trump administration, at the end, in April of 2020, we had the highest level of unemployment since the Great Depression at 14.8%. A rational mind would yield the conclusion that the pandemic caused that, and Trump didn't cause the pandemic. However, an irrational mind, using your logic, could conclude that because the highest level of unemployment happened under Trump's administration in April of 2020, that therefore Trump caused it by changing policy. So using your logic, I can yield the conclusion that Donald Trump passed terrible economic policy that caused the highest level of unemployment in the last 100 years merely because it happened under his first administration. Critique the logic. I dare you. Because in critiquing the argument that I just gave you, you're actually critiquing yourself as it would relate to your claims about Biden apparently changing immigration policy to cause more entry. He went on pause. I don't know where he's at. Maybe he's Googling. While he's Googling, real quick, Michael, thank you for the $20 over on...
He did change immigration policy. I did just Google it, and I can give you multiple examples right now.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to...
I can't hear you when you're on pause. Keep that in mind.
Title 42 expulsion.
Oh. When you leave the app, I can hear you.
He halted the migrant protection protocols.
So you just said Title 42, right?
Straight from Grok.
Straight from Grok. Wow. Do you know what Title 42 was?
You can indulge me.
Wow. I mean, you should probably know what it is before you start talking about it, because if you did know what it was, then you would know it was a special policy that could only be implemented during the pandemic due to the enacted public health emergency of the pandemic. Now, the moment that public health emergency of COVID was declared as over, Title 42 necessarily had to expire, and if it stayed in effect after that public health emergency was declared as over, it would have been unconstitutional. Yeah, and guess what?
So why
it
did
was
he
actually
halt the
you
migrant
and the
protection
other
protocol?
Republicans on the right who
Why did he halt the migrant
One
protection
second, I'm still
protocol?
speaking. It was actually you and all the other people on the right that thought that thought the pandemic was never a public health emergency and merely just the flu. So if you and the other Republicans got your way, Title 42 never would have been implemented to begin with, as there never would have been a declared public health emergency. So in a sense, the Democrats are the people you have to thank for it being in effect for the time it was.
Okay, well, Biden shouldn't have extended it until 2023 for no reason.
He shouldn't have extended it? Extended Title 42?
Yes, he kept it going until 2023.
Title 42 stopped entry. So now you're arguing that the Biden-Harris administration should have allowed more entry.
No, that's not what
this is why you got to research these policies before you talk about them.
Well, I know these policies, and I know that Biden changed stuff that made entry more easier for immigrants. That's a fact.
So now you're back to the top level claim that I've already disputed before you started giving me these specifics. And obviously you don't know these policies. Obviously not.
Okay. Well, all I know is you're trying to just add a bunch of words to it, but the fact remains that Biden made it easier for immigrants to enter the country than it was when Trump was in office. That's a fact.
And the second fact remains that you're yielding this conclusion with the use of a logical fallacy that I've already made clear to you. Once again, your argument for this conclusion would be that because there was more entry under Biden, therefore Biden changed the policy to make it easier to enter. Correlation causation fallacy. Just because two variables are associated with one another doesn't mean one caused the other. We've already went over that. We're just going to apply our logic back to Trump. I've already done this. I don't think that you heard me, so I'll do it again. I want to assume that your logic is true. We could just blame whatever happens in the country on the president and say that they like passed policy that caused that. Well, then because we had the highest level of unemployment in 100 years under Trump's first term in April of 2020 at 14.8%, therefore Donald Trump passed a very terrible economic policy that caused it. And I can yield that conclusion with your logic.
And it's also a fact that
you're going to ignore that? Don't ignore that.
And it's also a fact that Trump had
don't ignore what I just said.
Summarize what you said.
I've already said it twice. You need me to say it for a third time? Why weren't you listening?
Because I was looking at more evidence to tell you of why Biden made it easier.
Can you focus this time then? Can I just get like...
I'll focus this time.
Okay. One last time here. Your argument is that more border crossing under Biden. Therefore, Biden changed policy to cause more border crossing.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
Sum up your argument in 2 sentences.
Okay, Trump had policies in place that made immigrants remain in Mexico or made him so that they would be expelled quickly. Biden got rid of those policies and made it so that every single person could come into the United States with a court date years down the road. And it influenced and it encouraged millions and millions and millions of them to come. And he just let them all in because he reversed the policies that Trump had that made them remain in Mexico until the decision was final or quick expulsion. That's my argument, and that's a fact.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna prove
I don't
your
understand
argument.
what's hard to understand about that.
I'm gonna prove your argument wrong in about 2 sentences. Are you ready?
Yeah.
The millions of crossings that you and other Republicans like to talk about are millions of undocumented crossings. Okay? Asylum seekers coming into this country aren't undocumented. They're literally legal immigrants. All the entries of asylum seekers under the Biden-Harris administration are not calculated in or included in any figure of millions of crossings of undocumented immigrants because they're not undocumented immigrants.
Okay. So I have a question then. Those millions of people that came in, so explain to me, they just came to the border and said what?
Well, they didn't say anything. They entered undocumented.
Yeah, and that wasn't allowed under Trump.
And it was also illegal under Biden. And it's like 8 U.S. codes. 8 U.S. code.
So why did Biden not follow the law? Why did Biden not follow the law?
When you say why did Biden not follow the law, what do you mean? Because it's not Biden.
You just said it was. You said the law was in place.
It's them that would be breaking the law. It'd be the undocumented immigrants that were breaking federal law and committing the misdemeanor.
But under Trump, you could not just come to the border and just walk in. Under Biden, you could.
Oh,
Biden changed
we actually had increasing undocumented entry under the Trump administration for the first 3 years of his term until COVID hit and Title 42 is implemented.
Okay. Well, it still wasn't the vast number that Biden led in, and I assure you that if the vast number.
But now you're shifting the goalposts. Now you're saying that the Biden-Harris administration had more undocumented entry compared to Trump's first term. I'm pretty sure that's true, right? But once again, the question was, what is the argument that Biden caused that additional undocumented entry? And that's something that you don't have. And now you're just going to circle right back. Now you're just going to circle, and now you're just going to circle right back to the Remain in Mexico policy. But I've already described to you how the Remain in Mexico policy has no relationship or relevance to undocumented entry, as those that came into America as asylum seekers under the Remain in Mexico policy or after Biden abolished it were not considered undocumented immigrants and were considered legal immigrants. You're trying to use data concerning legal immigrants to argue an increase in undocumented immigration. But keep in mind, when I'm asking you, how did Biden cause an increase in undocumented immigration, your answer should have nothing to do with the Remain in Mexico policy, since that was a policy that only concerned legal immigrants.
Okay, so my question is, under Trump's first term, could an undocumented immigrant come to the border and Trump's administration would let him inside the country? That's my question.
It would let them inside the country?
Yeah, like Biden did. Would Trump's administration have let them in like Biden did?
So what did Biden do to allow undocumented immigrants to be let into the country?
You just said that under Biden, the undocumented immigrant could walk up to the border and Biden's administration would.
When did I say that? I was describing the Remain in Mexico policy and how that was.
I said because how
to
the
legal
millions of
immigrants.
people come into the country, and you said because they walked up to the border and they were let in.
No,
that's what you said.
Not what I said.
Okay, so they came to the border, and what happened? How'd they get inside?
They came to the border. They circumvented like border patrol agents, and they like quietly entered into the country, like unbeknownst to any of like.
Those would be
the border
gotaways.
securities.
What are you talking about? Those are gotaways.
So those are individuals that entered into the country illegally. Man, listen, I'm just going to go and clear this up. I've been asking you this question this whole goddamn time. You haven't been able to answer it. I'm going to give your very unintelligent ass one last chance to attempt to answer it. How did the Biden-Harris administration cause an increase in undocumented entry? This is your last chance to answer the question. Stop scrambling. Stop giving me the word salad and tell me how.
Because under Trump, when an undocumented immigrant came to the border, they were turned away. Under Biden, he let them in.
Okay.
That's
how did he do that? What was the change in border policy that allowed that to occur?
I'm not sure the name of it, but it was something.
Wait, so if you're not sure the name of it, then how do you know it was something?
Because I know under Trump they were turned away, and I know under Biden they were let in.
So how do you know? How do you know that like Biden let them in? How do you know that he allowed them to?
Because I watched videos of it. I watched videos of them coming to the border.
So
they were
detained. You watched these videos?
Yes, I saw millions of immigrants come to the border.
So if you were watching videos of millions of immigrants, you must have been watching videos for like a long time.
So that's your argument now?
Hey, let me just ask. Well, I mean,
You
actually,
stooped that low?
you're the one that stooped that low to
you know
tell
I'm
me
right.
that you're watching
You know I'm
videos.
right.
Well,
you know, under Biden,
well,
they were
my
let
friend,
in.
I just want to be
Under Trump, they were
clear.
turned away.
There's
Period.
nothing for you to be right about, as you don't have an argument. You're just simply saying that this happened, and you know that it happened, even though you can't give an argument that it did happen. Okay, let me ask you one last question here. Let me ask you one last question.
I watched it happen.
Do you think? Do you
happen.
think that you did not watch millions of undocumented immigrants get let in by Border Patrol? Stop acting as if this is something that. Stop acting as if this is just something that should be accepted. Okay. Like, stop acting as if this is just something that we should just all believe you on. This is like the world's largest, trust me, bro. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you think that the misdemeanor of undocumented entry into this country is sufficiently wrong to warrant removal from the country?
Yes.
Okay. So then why is 34 felonies in a civil adjudication for a grape case and 4 infractions and violations on our Constitution in the last 250 days not sufficient reason to warrant removal of Trump from the White House?
I mean, to be honest, it might be enough reason. Yeah.
Okay, well, is it or is it not in your mind?
I think it is, but I don't want it to happen because I don't want a Democrat in office. If we could remove him.
Wait, but here's the thing. Wait, now you're saying that you would prefer the 34-count felon rapist that has infringed upon our constitutional rights 5 times in the last 250 days to be president over the Democrat. But obviously, right, we would assume that the Democrat wasn't a 34-count felon. Obviously, we'd assume that the Democrat wasn't held civilly liable for a rape. Obviously, we'd assume that the Democrat wouldn't infringe upon your constitutional rights. That Democrat would have been Kamala Harris. And then keep in mind, this whole time, when I've been asking you about what Kamala Harris ran on that was so bad, you haven't even been telling me. You've just been like, but Biden. And I mean, it's just embarrassing for you. Like, what would Kamala Harris be doing right now that would be worse than infringements upon your civil rights and liberties?
She would co-sign the gender transition of minors.
Oh my God, dude. Dude, yeah, no, of course. There it is, folks. There it is. So not only did she run on no policy to do with trans individuals, but this was the third largest place where the Republicans spent their money prior to the election. Yes, you were successfully scared into voting for the grapist, delusional, wannabe authoritarian that is taking your money and spending it on the brand new Department of War and to give billionaires additional tax cuts while destroying our country in the process, all because you think Kamala Harris would have done something that she never talked about, she never said, and that she explicitly didn't run on. You can't make this up. Like, at this point, if we want to accept your logic here, like, we could just say whatever we fucking want. Let's just make shit up. Reality doesn't matter anymore. Facts aren't important. Whatever we think is true, and we could just emotionalize, that's a new word, emotionalize anything into existence, okay? So I want Kamala Harris to be president right now, not because there's anything about her I could say is too good, not because I could respond to any critiques of yours, but all because, I don't know, Trump would have dropped a nuke on France. What's my evidence for that? I don't have any. He didn't say he would. He didn't run on it. I'm just going to emotionalize that into existence to justify my own ignorance.
No, you picked one. I gave you one example, and you honed in on that one example and acted like that was the only one I had.
Yeah, well, we just basically disputed and debunked your silly ass example.
All right, because she didn't run on it in her campaign, which would have been a horrible campaign decision, doesn't mean that she does not support gender transition of minors. She does. She supports that, and I could never vote for anybody who supports that. Period.
So are you saying that she supports sex reassignment surgeries? How do you know she supports that?
She supports puberty blockers, etc. for minors.
Wait, so
that's all.
Earlier you said like changing their. So are you talking about sex reassignment surgeries?
I don't even know about that, but too, I'm talking about puberty blockers and other surgeries. Yes.
Okay, how do you know that she supports sex reassignment surgeries for minors?
Because I could show you examples. I don't have them in front of me.
Oh.
She supports trans kids. I'll say that. Okay.
So once again, are you gonna give me like the evidence to believe she supported?
I don't have it pulled up on me, but I could probably. I could show you something that points to her supporting that.
Flea, yes. I appreciate you so much for the animal ban. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. So once again, you shouldn't support Donald Trump because he wants to nuke France.
And the thing is,
a lot of
times
respond to my argument. You shouldn't support Trump because he wants to nuke France. He's going to do it tomorrow, unless you stop supporting him today.
If he was going to nuke France, I wouldn't want that to happen. I would stop supporting him.
Exactly, and he is. So you should stop supporting him.
Wait, I haven't heard that news yet.
Yeah, he is. He's going to nuke France.
What's he upset with them about?
Well, I don't know. He said he's going to nuke him. He said he supports nuking him.
Okay. And do you are you
Wait, you're going to stop supporting Trump now because he said he's going to nuke France, right?
Oh, not just because if he says it, but if he were to do it, I would. Yeah. I'm sure he's not serious.
Dude, I was just trying to use his own logic against him there, just to make some like absurd shit up about like the other party's champion, to argue why you shouldn't support them. And like the most absurd thing I could think on of the spot is saying that they are going to nuke one of our allies. So not only did this guy not like pick up on that, but he also said that he still supports Trump even if that were to be true. You're a member of a cult. You're a cult member. You are a cult member. How could you possibly ever support a president, even if they say they're literally going to drop a nuke on one of our closest benevolent allies?
Because he's not serious. That's why.
Oh my God, you're still not
if he
even
were to
tracking
have
the
said that,
logic.
he wouldn't be serious. If he was dead serious saying I'm going to drop a nuke,
you're still not even dropping.
but...
Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. He said he was dead seriously going to drop a nuke on France. That's why you shouldn't support him.
Well, if he was dead serious about to realistically drop a nuke on France, I would not support that.
Oh, he said, Donald Trump said, I am dead serious. I am going to drop a nuke on France. This is not a joke. This is not a troll. No,
You
he
can't take it
said to
seriously.
take him seriously. He said to take him seriously. He said,
Well, you still can't
I'm
take him
serious.
seriously.
No. He said, I am so super duper serious. Like, I'm actually, that's what he said.
Well, yeah. Well, he
Why
lies a
can't you?
lot.
Why can't you take him seriously? Even though he told you to take him seriously, he said, "I'm seriously gonna drop a nuke on France. I'm seriously gonna do it." That's what he said.
Yeah. Well, I don't take anything he says seriously. So
Wait. So then, how could you take his campaign promises seriously?
I honestly didn't, and I know that most of them will not get.
Wait. I want to ask another question. If you can't take anything our president says seriously, how could you support them?
Because I ideologically am more similar to him
But
than the other side.
how do you know where his beliefs lie if you can't take
He really-
anything that he says seriously?
He really doesn't have too many firm beliefs. I mean,
Exactly.
to be honest.
You're telling us that you ideologically align with him. How do you know you ideologically align with him?
Because I know at least that the people around him, will at least push for the things I support. And I do say he does flip flop, and he doesn't. I did say he doesn't stand.
I'm just kidding. I don't really care about his answer. We're gonna kick him. So, I was just trying to make an example of the use of his logic, just to say shit and envision it as true. But he believed the example that I gave him. He didn't see that I was making an argument, and then he just went on to argue that he still doesn't take anything seriously. What a fucking cult member, bro! That guy shouldn't have the right to vote. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna voice my opinion. That guy shouldn't have the right to vote. Okay, that guy's a sheep. Holy sheep, dude. What's up, man? Oh, you got a little bit of an echo. I got to disconnect you. We're gonna move on to the next guest. Hop in that queue if you support Trump and you want to come up here and have a debate with me. We gotta kick that sheep out and move on to the next guest. Holy fuck, dude, unreal. Yo, Neon, I appreciate you for the $10 over on Super Chat saying, Dean, you need to be on GTA 6 Talk Radio. Dude, when is GTA 6 coming out? Speaking of the devil, when is that shit dropping? What's up, Lincoln? Do you support Trump?
Yes, I do.
How old are you?
I'm 18.
Cool, man. Let me thank a couple people here before we hop into the debate. Super duper quickly, Naughty, thank you so much for the $15 donation over on Vimeo. Thank you so much, Naughty. Naughty says football team won, fantasy team won, and Dean grilling up MAGAs for lunch. Great week so far, if I do so say so myself. Well, it's good to see you, Naughty. I appreciate you for being in here, and thank you so much for the $15. You were based, as well as, dude. Jay, thank you so much for the $500 donation over on PayPal. Jay, that is fucking unreal. Thank you so much. That is so incredibly kind of you, Jay. I want to see 5,000 JWs down below in that chat, Jay. That is so incredibly kind of you. Holy fucking shit, that's so much money. Jay says, Dean, you are indeed a Superman of your generation who's not only afraid to fight for common sense, level-headedness, and truth to lies. Love always, dude. Yesterday, I matched this with Parker, telling him the same thing. Jay, I really appreciate you for your love and your support. You've been so kind and so generous, not just to me, but also to Parker, and both me and him really, really appreciate it. If everyone watching can please spam WJs in the chats for at least the next 10 minutes while we're hopping into this next debate, it'd mean the world to me. Jay, once again, thank you so much for the love and support. You were so awesome. And Lincoln, take it away. Why do you support Trump?
I support his border policies. I support his economic choices that he has made with recently, especially the one where he made the deal with the EU. Pretty much made over, I think it was $1.5 trillion. I think it was less than that, a little bit less.
Okay, so we've spent the last hour and 10 minutes talking about the border and immigration stuff. I think we're going to switch it up a little bit. Now, I do want to talk about his economic policies. So you just brought up some random trade deal with the EU. Well, those numbers are not being resembled within the economic data we're getting from the Federal Reserve. We actually see that investment into manufacturing is going down for the first time in 3 years, not to mention that the economy as a whole is not performing too well right now. In the last month of Biden's term, we added 285,000 jobs to the economy. Last month, we added 30,000. It was so bad that even Donald Trump's White House had to admit that the job numbers were down. For the first time in 7 years, we see that there's more unemployed Americans than there are job openings. We see that GDP growth is down by over 1% compared to where it was at last year. And I think a lot of this has to do with the terrible economic policy that Donald Trump passed in July of the Big Beautiful Bill, spending $4.5 trillion to make the poor poorer and the rich richer. Things aren't looking too hot.
I mean, I don't really agree with that. I mean, he did the no tax on tips. Was that in the Big Beautiful Bill? I'm not sure. Was it? the no tax on tips, it was.
Yeah, it was. And even when we
Yeah,
factor in
so
for no tax on tips and no tax on overtime for the next 2 years, we still see that according to the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, it is going to hurt everybody that makes at or beneath $51,000 per year more than it will help them.
how would it hurt them?
Yeah, by doing things like defunding Medicaid. It is defunding Medicaid by $900 billion, kicking 10 million low-income Americans off and increasing the premiums by 75% for everybody else who is still on them, or defunding food stamps by $3 million, defunding the DOE, kicking 18 million school students off of free school student lunches, rolling back the clean energy credits offered under the IRA, which is projected to reduce clean energy production by 72%, reducing the overall energy supply in this country, which is expected to increase the price of energy for the average American household by $500 per year. These cuts and others are why the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, as well as the CBO, tells us this is going to hurt the average American and everybody below them.
I mean, I don't agree how he cut the Medicaid, but I don't agree with that at all. But I do. I mean, I get how he cut the food stamps. I mean, it's with how many people are living off the government at the moment. It is stressful on our economy. I do see that. I see how it's going to be harder, but I mean, how has his policies negatively affected your life personally? Like I haven't seen that anywhere.
I don't want you to goal shift here. You just told us that you do support 3 million people being taken off of food stamps. Why do you support that?
I mean, he didn't support 3 million people taking off food stamps. He defunded it. He didn't take away all the funding. He took away some of the funding.
Right.
I mean, there's still people who
$156 billion worth of funding. That's what he cut.
Yeah,
That's
because there's so many people living off of food stamps that don't need it. That there's so many people that can get jobs that won't get jobs.
Okay, well, food stamps already has the work requirement on it. So that's not why people are losing them. They're losing them because they're literally losing funding. Now, he imposed the new work requirement on Medicaid, and that's what I disagree with.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't agree with the Medicaid. I mean,
so you disagree with the work requirement?
Disagree with the what? Sorry, there.
With the work requirement.
Yeah, I agree with the work requirement. I think everybody should have to work to be able to get food stamps. Yeah.
No. For the last time, the new work requirement was not on the food stamps. It was on Medicaid. The reason why 10 million people are losing Medicaid is because of the new work requirement and cut in funding of $900 billion. Do you support that or not?
So you're saying that people have to work to get Medicaid? Is that what you're saying?
Now, yeah. If you're an able-bodied American and you can work, you gotta work in order to receive Medicaid. And I disagree with that. What about you?
I don't. I completely agree with that.
So you think that
if you are able to work, then you should be working. That's just plain and simple.
I'll change your mind in about 30 seconds if you're good faith.
Okay, go shoot.
If you tell us that you're okay with people losing Medicaid if they're not working, if they're able to work, you're telling me that you think that essential social safety nets that save lives and make society better should have a work requirement on them. And if you think that essential social safety nets that save lives and make society better should have a work requirement on them, would you say that therefore calling the police should have a work requirement on it? Calling the firefighters should have a work requirement on it. Driving on public roadways should have a work requirement on it. All because these are essential social safety nets that either save lives or make society as a whole better off.
I mean, you kind of already do because you do already pay taxes. I mean, people pay taxes for emergency services and all that, and people pay taxes for roads and roadways and all public schools. People work for that. So yeah, you do have to. I mean, there are people that are getting that without jobs, but I think you should have to work to be able to get those things. If you are able-bodied and you are able to work, yeah.
So if,
I don't get how
if
that's
an
a ridiculous
unemployed
statement.
mother of 5 is having her kids kidnapped, she shouldn't be able to call the cops to save her kids.
Well, why is she unemployed?
God.
I don't get that.
Oh my God. Dude,
How is that ridiculous?
Assume any reason. We can assume that she's unemployed because she just started developing some chronic condition that isn't considered.
Well, then
by
she's
the
not
social
able-bodied. Then she can apply for.
Allow me to finish fucking speaking. That is not currently considered by the Social Security Administration as a inoperable condition, such as like early stage pancreatic cancer in men. Or we could assume that she's not working because she's lazy. Why not? I still think that an unemployed mother of 5 that is only unemployed because she's lazy should still be able to call the cops if she's getting her kids kidnapped from her. What about you?
Well, if she's too lazy to work, then she shouldn't have the kids in the first place. I think that's a stupid argument. But
so are you going to answer
don't...
the question? Should she be able to call the cops to prevent them being kidnapped?
Well, yeah, but I'm kind of lost on this one.
So there you go. You just told me that somebody that's unemployed because they're lazy, like you like to assume every unemployed person is, should still be able to call the cops and have access to that essential social safety net.
No, you just put words in my mouth. That is not true at all.
Dude,
I did not say
shit,
that. I don't think every person that doesn't have a...
You're going on timeout. I'm putting you on timeout because I'm very annoyed with you. Why am I annoyed with you? I ask you the question, should this unemployed mother of 5 be able to call the cops if her kids are getting kidnapped? You said yes. And then I was like, so you think somebody that's unemployed should have access to the essential social safety net of the police force? And then you said, no, you're putting words in my mouth. It is self-implied that she should have access to that social safety net, given that you think she should be able to call the cops. I'm not putting words in your mouth. That was your answer to my question. You're lucky I'm coming off of a 2-day break. See, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling lenient.
Okay, so I wasn't saying you were putting my words in my mouth in that aspect. So you said that I think all people that don't have jobs are lazy. That's what I was saying, that you put words in my mouth. That's what I was saying. I wasn't saying in the other, whatever else you were saying. I wasn't saying that.
Oh, I said like a lot of Republicans like to think, right? And that is true. A lot of Republicans do like to think
that. Yeah, but you said
whatever.
I said that, and I didn't say that.
I don't think I said that you said that, but let's just stick on the substance of
you
the
did.
dialogue. Okay, I disagree, but let's stick on the substance of the dialogue nonetheless. Okay, this unemployed mother of 5, her kids are getting kidnapped from her. You said that she should be able to call the cops, meaning that you think unemployed Americans should have access to essential social safety nets, right?
Emergency services are different than food stamps.
Okay, so you'd say that she should only be able to access the cops in emergency circumstances. So do you think that an unemployed mother of 5 should be able to call the police and access a non-emergency hotline?
Give me a scenario. I'm trying to kind of visualize this.
A lot of vandalism can be considered non-emergency. Somebody parking in front of your driveway could be considered non-emergency.
Okay, one second. I'm thinking about this. I mean, that's other people could call the cops on that too. She could. I mean, I'm kind of out of the loss for words there. That's kind of a weird argument. I'm not really sure how to answer that one. But I'm just saying, and
exactly. Exactly. The reason why you're not sure if you should answer the question is because it's a very common sense example that refutes your idea here that low-income Americans shouldn't be able to access non-emergency social safety nets.
Well, it's just the scenario that you're putting. It just isn't realistic.
What? This is so realistic.
A jobless mother of 5 that is too lazy to work.
This is so realistic. I've personally done this. I've personally called the non-emergency hotline at my local police force in Boulder, for instance, when it was like 3 a.m. and the people living in the apartment above me were like fucking mobbing to Soulja Boy, right? I had school in the morning. I had a test. It was 3 a.m. They were still going. I called that non-emergency hotline to file a noise complaint, right? It's so realistic. It happens every day. This is not unrealistic. It's not. It is because people realistically need non-emergency police resources that every single police department in this country has a non-emergency hotline. Don't say that's not unrealistic. Come on, do better.
What I'm saying is unrealistic is that you said a single mother of 5 that is too lazy to work. That is unrealistic.
I thought that we are just now speaking generally about people that are unemployed. Just think generally. Unemployed.
Oh,
Should you be able to
well,
call
oh.
the non-emergency hotline of the police force to report a crime?
Yes.
Okay,
I mean,
great. So then unemployed Americans shouldn't have to work in order to access non-emergency essential social safety nets like the police. So why should they have to work to access, in some cases, emergency social safety nets like going to the hospital to get a skin dot checked out before it develops into stage 5 skin cancer?
I mean,
boom.
Like just public services and food stamps, that's a big difference. That is a huge difference. That's not really comparable. The only comparable thing about them
what is the categorical distinction between offering a non-emergency hotline to access police resources, to make the governance of society better off, to make society better off as a whole, and low-income Americans having access to Medicaid, to access like a general physician, go to an annual checkup, or schedule a doctor's appointment, given they have heart palpitations or skin dots that they think may be cancer, to seek and access preventative care to either save their lives or extend their lifespan?
Well, I mean, I think people should be able to get Medicaid, but I don't. I think if you're too lazy to get it, you should be able to get a job to have Medicaid.
Oh, remember earlier when you were telling me teen, you put words in my mouth. Don't assume I think all unemployed people are lazy. Now you're saying if you're too lazy, get a job. But in the first part of that sentence, you conceded because you said that, yeah, they should be able to access Medicaid. Thanks for the concession, man. I won. You lost.
I said that you should be able to access Medicaid if you have a job. That's what I was saying, but you muted me.
So then you didn't respond to my question. Do you need me to repeat my question? I will.
No, I was standing on my ground. I was
exactly. You were just repeating the original claim, not responding to my question about your original claim. Yeah, you just explained how you pivoted and did not answer my question. So I'll re-ask my question.
I answered your question by going back to my original statement.
No, oh my God. No, you didn't answer my question by going back to your original statement, because what was my question?
Should people be able to access non-emergency public services while not having a job?
No, that wasn't my question. Holy shit, you can't track anything.
Then what was your question? Repeat it then.
There you go. Okay, are you going to listen this time?
Go.
Okay, are you going to listen this time?
Yes.
Awesome. So why should people be able to access a non-emergency police line if they're unemployed to potentially make society as a whole better off? But they shouldn't be able to access medical resources such as Medicaid if they're unemployed to not only make society as a whole better off, but also to potentially save their life or extend their lifespan. I think that both of these two things, Medicaid for low-income Americans and police resources for anybody, would fall under the same category of essential social services.
Well, I think that there's a big difference between not like calling the cops because someone parked in front of your car and being able to get Medicaid. There's a big difference between that. There's a huge difference. Those things aren't comparable. I've already said that.
Would you say like the big difference is like possibly getting Medicaid is much more important than calling the cops to report vandalism?
No, those are just two completely different genres. They aren't comparable.
Can you tell me
it's
though?
Just two completely separate things.
Do you think that it may? Well, they're related in the sense that they're public resources funded by the taxpayer, and that is the relevant sense of the conversation that we're having. But answer my question: what's more important? Going to the hospital with heart palpitations that may inevitably develop into some type of heart condition if you're a low-income American on Medicaid, or calling the cops to report vandalism? Which one is more important for you and for society?
For Medicaid, but if you were able-bodied, you should have a job.
Wait, so now you're telling us that an unemployed American going to talk to a doctor because of heart palpitations is going to be significantly more important than calling the cops to report vandalism, but you think you should have to work in order to do the significantly more important thing of going to the hospital, but you shouldn't have to work to do the less important thing of calling the cops to report vandalism. Do you see how this is kind of hypocritical and backwards and twisted?
I mean, I don't really see that too much. I'd say that
The reason this is
getting
hypocritical
medical services are a lot more
the reason why this is hypocritical, backwards, and twisted is because you're saying that you should have to jump through more hoops and meet more guidelines to do the more important thing than you should have to do the less important thing.
Okay, repeat that question one more time. Sorry, my sister was talking to me.
Dude, that wasn't a question. It was a statement.
Okay.
How am I supposed to have this
repeat that one more
conversation
time.
with you if you can't
Repeat
track
that one more
anything
time.
that I say?
Repeat that one more time.
Okay.
Please.
So why do you think it should be significantly more difficult and more exclusionary to access the more important resources that actually save lives compared to the less important resources of spending the taxpayers' money on cops to, like, I don't know, answer to a vandalism call? Feisty with the $2 over on Venmo saying you are
police do
traumatizing
save
viewers.
lives.
I'm specifically talking about a call for vandalism. Typically, calling the cops to report vandalism isn't going to save your life.
I would say a cop coming over to get a guy stop spray painting your car is a lot different than you going into the doctor's office and getting checked out for heart palpitations. That's a big.
I'm going to go and kick you now because every single time I got you in the corner, you just said there's a big difference, didn't explain yourself, didn't answer to my questions, and didn't, once again, acknowledge for the fifth time the sense of relation between these two things, of that being that they're essential social services funded by the taxpayer. We're going to move on to the next guest. Let's go and get that next guest loaded up into the live. I think that Lincoln just, it wasn't educated or intelligent enough to have that conversation. What's up? Do you support Trump?
Oh, sweet. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. Are you MAGA?
I sure am. Ultra MAGA, I'd say.
Ultra MAGA, Jesus Christ. Okay. Before we hop into the conversation, I'm going to go ahead and read off a few donations. Jennifer, thank you so much for the $20 over on PayPal. Jennifer with the $20 says, this guy doesn't understand the concept of sneaking. I don't know what, oh, you're in reference to the first guest about undocumented entry. Yeah, he was fucking dense. Thank you for the $20, Jennifer. Let's get 200 Jennifer W's down below. That is incredibly kind of you. As well as Sandra with the $10 saying, keep up the great work of debunking all the MAGA lies. Thank you, Sandra, as well as it's good to see you again. I'd also like to quickly thank, let's see here, Jaden for the $10 on Venmo. Jaden says, keep doing what you're doing, man. Thank you. As well as Rebecca with the $5. You're awesome. Thank you so much. And then Annie with the $20 on Super Chat. Let's get 200 Annie W's. Thank you so much. Annie with the $20 on Super Chat says, careful, you're going to accidentally convince this idiot that unemployed people shouldn't be able to report vandalism. Dude, that's usually where it goes. As well as Feisty, thank you for the $10. Show some love to Feisty, show some love to Annie, show some love to Sandra, Rebecca, and Jaden. You guys are all awesome. Thank you guys so much for the love. Now, you said that you're ultra MAGA.
Yeah, I love Trump. I think he's amazing.
Do you mind if I ask you a question?
Sure.
Are you a patriot?
Patriot, absolutely.
Do patriots care about core American values like the Constitution?
Sure, but there's other values that are more important.
Can we agree the Constitution is like one of the important ones, though?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
But Constitution is a living document, right?
If you are a patriot, and yes, and that's defined in the Constitution, therefore you'd care about that aspect of it as well. So if you're a patriot that cares about core American values, such as the Constitution, how could you possibly love a president that A, explicitly called for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution, and B, has been incessantly violating it since his first day in office, starting with Executive Order number 14160, that attempted to illegally strip the children of undocumented immigrants away from their right to birthright citizenship, given that they're born on American soil?
Well, you say Trump violated the Constitution, but as far as I understand, the Supreme Court hasn't yet ruled on birthright citizenship and whether or not our argument that the illegal parents aren't under our jurisdiction.
Okay.
Right?
So they ruled
So
on...
it remains to be seen.
False.
It's false? You're saying the Supreme Court's already ruled on it?
Yes, they did. In 1898, U.S. versus Juan Kimara, they ruled on birthright citizenship. And I find the important part of their ruling in 1898 to be the fact that the Chief Justices set forth very specific parameters for who was and was not subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Those specific parameters being exclusionary, basically saying here are the groups of individuals that are specifically excluded. Those groups of individuals being foreign diplomats, invading military forces from other countries, and Native Americans. Of course, the Native Americans was later fixed through federal law. But because undocumented immigrants don't fall into the other two categories specifically set forth by the Chief Justices as who is excluded, we could very easily induce that therefore they would be subject to the jurisdiction of the U.S. And this ruling was only repeated in 1987 in the Plyer v. Doe case, where SCOTUS ruled that undocumented immigrants are subject to protection under Section 4 of the 14th, that being the Equal Protections Clause. However, the Equal Protections Clause, just like the Birthright Citizenship Clause, only applies to people that are subject to the jurisdiction thereof, meaning that by second consequence, SCOTUS ruled once again in the 80s that undocumented immigrants are subject to the jurisdiction thereof.
So, Dean, you're a pretty honest guy. You don't really think that the Supreme Court has always ruled correctly in the past, do you?
Well, now you're shifting the goalpost
Right,
because you told us originally that because they haven't made a
No,
ruling,
I'm not
that'd
shifting the
make this
goalpost.
clear.
I'm saying that
I'll explain
the
how you
current
are.
Supreme Court.
I'll explain
the
how
current Supreme Court.
I'll explain how you are shifting the
Right.
goalposts. Because your first claim against my statement that this EO is unconstitutional was that, well, SCOTUS hasn't ruled on the issue yet. I detailed to you how they have, and now that they have ruled on the issue, you don't concede that first point. You're shifting the goalposts and saying, although they have ruled on that issue, they're wrong.
No, they haven't ruled on this EO, right? And it's going through the courts, and it's eventually going to get to a Supreme Court that is dominated by MAGA. And surely you see that you're going to lose on this issue, right?
Okay, so you think that they have to rule on this specific executive order, even though they've ruled on the legality of other instances that would clearly define what the legality of this executive order would be. That's not how it works. For instance, if a school attempted to racially segregate their students tomorrow, would that be unconstitutional in virtue of Brown v. Board, which was a ruling made forever ago? Or do you think that this specific circumstance would have to be re-challenged in SCOTUS in order for us to clearly know if it's constitutional or not?
Well, it works its way up through the courts, right? And I doubt the Supreme Court would even hear that case, right? But it's clear that the Supreme Court is going to hear this case about the EO. And like I said,
would you
we
say the reason
dominate
why they
the
wouldn't
Supreme
even
Court
hear
right
that
now.
case is because they've already made a ruling on the legality of racial segregation in schools?
Well, I mean, there's precedent, so I'm not denying that there's precedent in the Supreme Court, but, it's a different world we live in. And then you talk about an invasion.
Okay, so you're
we
saying,
really have.
so then
You
you're
like
saying,
to call them undocumented.
So then
but
you're
it really
saying the
is an
reason why
invasion.
you know that this new racially segregated school would be unconstitutional is because of the precedent that has already been set forth by SCOTUS. That is my same argument for Trump's EO. I know this EO is unconstitutional because of the precedent already set forth by SCOTUS.
Now, who's moving the goalpost here? We were talking about the EO, about birthright citizenship, and now you want to bring in segregation. Let's talk about this EO.
Well, I just
right.
used
So
your
if you
responses.
just
one
happen
second.
to come over to America,
You didn't hear what I just said. You didn't hear what I just said. I'll repeat it because you think I'm shifting the goalposts. Once again, you said that if there was a new racially segregated school tomorrow, you would know it's unconstitutional because of precedent that has already been set forth by SCOTUS, such as in the Brown v. Board case. That is my argument for why I know Donald Trump's executive order attempting to take birthright citizenship away from the children of undocumented immigrants born on American soil is unconstitutional because of precedent already set forth by SCOTUS, such as U.S. versus Wong Kim Ark in 1887 or Plyer v. Doe in 1987. That's my argument. It's unconstitutional because of the explicit wording of the 14th Amendment and precedent already set forth by SCOTUS.
well, I mean, that's your opinion, but ultimately the Supreme Court's going to rule on this again, and we'll see what happens. And whatever the ruling is, that's what we accept, and that's why Trump isn't a dictator. If the Supreme Court rules on something, he says, okay, we follow the law. In this case, we think we're going to win. You think we're going to lose? That's fine. But we see it as a matter of justice too. We don't think that any person can come. You would call them undocumented. I'd call them illegal. We don't think that you should be able to come to this country, have a kid, and suddenly then get to stay, and your kid becomes a citizen. It just strikes us as fundamentally unjust. We should have the ability to say what people are allowed to become Americans and what people aren't allowed to become Americans.
Can you give me a legal argument that the first section of the 14th Amendment, that being birthright citizenship, doesn't apply to them? Because the first thing that you said there was that you think that we do have a case. You think that SCOTUS will reinterpret it and rule that this is not constitutionally protected. Can you give me a legal argument to demonstrate that the children of undocumented immigrants born on American soil is not constitutionally protected? Because if you can't give an argument for that, then it's just purely rhetoric.
No, I'm giving you a value-based argument. So whatever the law is,
that's not how the
lawyers will
Constitution
figure
works, my
out.
friend.
Well, sure. I mean, sure it is. I mean, the Constitution is a living document that represents the will of and the values of the American people. And what you're feeling right now with Trump winning is the American people standing up for American values that have been under attack for a long time. Uh, Chiefly, that Americans come first, not Mexicans, not Canadians, not Europeans, not Asians, not Africans, Americans.
So you could be an African American, you could be an Asian American, you could be a Mexican American. Wow, that's a crazy concept, right? Something that a third grader could understand, but for whatever reason, you can't. And you also have a very fundamental misunderstanding here. If we want to change the Constitution to act in accordance with American values, that would be through an amendment in Congress. The goal of the Supreme Court is not to act in accordance with whatever values Americans hold to be the case. The goal of SCOTUS is to literally interpret the meaning of the values that have already been ratified into the Constitution. So if you want to argue that there is a very clear legal case here for the conclusion to be formed that they are not subject to protections under the 14th, you will have to give that to me. I have already given you very clear reason to believe that the children born to undocumented immigrants on American soil are subject to birthright citizenship due to the explicit wording of the first section of the 14th and precedent already set forth by SCOTUS and federal courts, ranging from 1887 in the U.S. versus Wong Kim Ark case, ranging to Plyer v. Doe in 1987, meaning where SCOTUS determined that they are subject to the jurisdiction of our country and that they do have equal protections under the eyes of the fourth section of the 14th Amendment, and all of the federal judges and circuit courts that have already ruled Donald Trump's executive order on the issue in early January was unconstitutional. So you will not be able to rhetoric your way out of this. You won't be able to suggest that, well, guess what? I just don't value their birthright citizenship, and I don't think they should have it. That's not a legal argument, my friend. This is identical, logically speaking, to a white supremacist suggesting a system of value that would place white people above black people, thereby arguing that if we were to have a president that re-legalized racial discrimination, it would be constitutional simply because they do not value the president set forth under the Equal Protections Clause of the 14th.
That's a wild analogy, but it does strike to the heart of the difference between MAGA and those who oppose MAGA, which is when we look at America, we see power as one of the primary values. That, a lot of people will say power corrupts and power's bad and all this kind of stuff, right? But when we look at America, we look at Manifest Destiny, we look at Louisiana Purchase, we look at, Revolutionary War, Civil War. We see American power as the foundation for American goodness. So, all this stuff about like birthright citizenship and the border and protectionist economic policies and all these sort of MAGA issues, it really comes down to making America as powerful as possible and then using that power. And, a lot of people don't like that. A lot of people want to play the victim. A lot of people want to say that, being weak and meek is the way to go. We don't see it that way. And that's why we love Trump, is because he's a winner. He's a powerful man. He knows how to enforce his will, on reality. And that's what we're trying to do with America. We're trying to enforce our will, which is a good will, an exceptional will, on the rest of the world. And it's going to happen whether people like it or not.
Exactly. So I just gave you a very clear legal argument to demonstrate that the children born to undocumented immigrants are subject to birthright citizenship. And then I even showed you the flaw of your own argument, because just a suggestion of your values doesn't change the Constitution. And you responded to that by saying that you want America to be as powerful as possible. So it sounds like you don't really care about the constitutionality of Donald Trump's executive order there. Just because it happens to align with your values, you're okay with it. So let me ask you a question.
Well, we know it's going to be constitutional when they roll in our favor.
That it was strictly unconstitutional to deny the children born to undocumented immigrants birthright citizenship, would you critique that executive order of his?
Yeah, so if the Supreme Court says it's unconstitutional, then, then it's unconstitutional. We can't do it, right?
Would you support it if it was unconstitutional? Would you support Donald Trump exerting his will and power if it was unconstitutional?
Well, we'd have to find another way, right? We'd have to either pass an amendment or we'd have to find some other legal mechanism.
That's not what I asked you. How about this? How about this? Let me just like contextualize this within something Trump did in 2020. In 2020, Donald Trump tried to dispose the voice and the vote of the people by an attempt to install himself for a second term by rigging the outcome of the election through his fake electorates plot. If he was successful within his fake electorates plot, would you still support him as president, even though he rigged the outcome of the election because he was just exerting his power?
Well, now you're not going to like my answer. You know, many of us believe that he won that election and that it was rigged against him, right?
Okay. Well, we can't really debate that here on TikTok because it is such an abundantly false claim that they'll take you down for it for misinformation.
I know. Yeah, we can't talk about that.
Right? Now, like assuming reality, which is that he didn't win. Keep in mind, there's no evidence for this. He, tried to convince 63 handpicked judges that he had evidence for it. They all told him no. Then, even like the 2000 Mules movie, the people that made that movie ended up admitting in court they had no evidence for their claims. But just assuming that I'm right here, that Biden had won the election, and Donald Trump was successful in his fake electorate's plot to rig it and steal it from him, would you be okay with that?
Well, no, of course. I mean, we believe in the law, right? So, I mean, I know that it might sound like MAGA doesn't believe in the law. All we're saying is that, hey, the Supreme Court's on our side, Senate, House, presidency. The people of America have spoken, right?
Wait, if
now,
you believe in
we
the
still
law,
have to do things according to the law.
If you believe in the law and you think that we should do things in accordance with the law, well, then my critiques of Donald Trump's first executive order, 14160, would be clear to you, and you would admonish Trump for that. You'd say that was bad for him to pass an unconstitutional executive order.
No, I mean, he's really helping define what the law is, right? So when the courts ruled against the birthright citizenship EO, right, it's not in effect, right? Like it's not like he's been pushing this through to the states and people being born to illegals right now are, lacking, citizenship, right? It's still, I mean, things are going on as they have before. It is working its way through the courts and eventually we'll see what happens.
Well, exactly. Now you're saying that he did that to just get it clearly defined. Like I brought up, this was my first point to you forever ago. It was already clearly defined in the U.S. versus Juan Kemar case.
Well, it's going to be redefined, man.
Oh,
the Constitution's a living document, right?
Yeah.
Precedent is important, but precedent gets overturned. I mean, just look at Roe v. Wade, right?
Right. No, this is just.
it happens.
This is just the cope. Like basically, what you're telling us is that it is nearly impossible for Donald Trump to do anything unconstitutional because even if he does something that explicitly violates an amendment on paper or explicitly violates precedent that we already have set forth through SCOTUS rulings and federal circuit courts, it's not unconstitutional because I think eventually SCOTUS will redefine our Constitution to be in alignment with what Donald Trump is doing. This is just all conducive towards the view that you want Donald Trump to be your dictator. Now, additionally, you additionally said that MAGA cares about the law. I don't think so. Donald Trump pardoned 72 people that were criminally convicted of assault on police officers on January 6th, called them patriots and let them out of jail, even though they attacked our law enforcement inside of our country's capital during an attempted insurrection. He calls them patriots, lets them out of jail. Do you care about that? Do you critique him for that?
So you're skipping around a little bit, but so on your first point about an executive order that you say is unconstitutional, I would say it would be unconstitutional if the courts rule against us and we do it anyways, right? That would be breaking the law. But on your second point about the pardon power, I mean, you can critique the fact that, the president has the power to pardon, like that idea. And I might go along with that. I might say, the power of pardon is too much, but it's not illegal what he did, and it's not illegal what Biden did and what all the presidents before them did, right?
So now you're arguing
it's not illegal.
That you can't disagree with it because it's legal. Did you know that sometimes legal things can be morally wrong? like this is just me pointing out hypocrisy between the values that you're suggesting and the actions of Trump, right? You said that MAGA cares about law and order, yet we have a president that is letting violent offenders out of jail. Right? You can't just simply respond to that in defense and say this isn't hypocritical because what he did was legal. Not at all. It would have also been legal for Trump to say that he literally doesn't care about law and order. So imagine that you say MAGA cares about law and order, then I critique that by bringing up the fact that Donald Trump said he didn't care about law and order. Then your response would be, well, it was legal for Trump to say he didn't care about law and order. The fact that that was legal doesn't inform me of anything relevant to why it's not hypocritical compared to what you're saying. The same way your response by saying it was legal for him to pardon people like DJ Rodriguez who try to kill cops on the Capitol doesn't inform me with any response whatsoever into the fact that this is very hypocritical given your prior suggestion on how you think MAGA stands for law and order.
No, you're conflating two things, right? So the first part is that you were saying he was doing unconstitutional, illegal things, right?
Oh,
So,
I'm
and
not
I just
conflating
pointed
these.
out
I'm not
simply that-
conflating these 2
hold on.
points.
The
These
second-
are two
the
separate
second
points.
thing,
The
if you let me finish.
So I just want to clarify
let me
that,
finish.
that the point here is in relation to you saying that MAGA cares about law and order, not in relation to my first point that he's doing unconstitutional things. It's obviously not unconstitutional for him to pardon DJ Rodriguez. It is just in a double standard in relationship to your statement that MAGA cares about law and order. But go ahead and finish. I just wanted to clarify.
So if we're talking about what MAGA cares about, then you actually have to put yourself in MAGA's shoes for a second, though. So, like, I just told you what we think about the 2020 election. Now, we don't need to dive into that because of TikTok, right? But you can imagine how we would feel about those people on J6, right? I know people who were there, right? My feelings toward them are probably very different than your feelings. So you can't really accuse MAGA. You can accuse MAGA of being dumb, or you can accuse of MAGA being deluded, but you can't accuse us of being hypocrites on law and order when we have a very different opinion of those who participate in J6.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Does our opinion differ in the fact that DJ Rodriguez broke the law when he tried to kill Officer Fanone?
Well, I mean, breaking the law. America has a long history of civil disobedience, don't we? Now, as far as like people taking it too far,
can I get a yes
sure.
or no? Can we can we be
sure,
in agreement
yeah.
on the fact that DJ Rodriguez
otherwise a
broke the
pardon
law
would make no sense
when he
if he
tried
hadn't
to
broken the
kill
law.
Officer Fanone?
Well, if a pardon would make no sense if he didn't break the law, right?
Right. So we can agree to that. So we could agree that
Yeah.
DJ Rodriguez stand in opposition of law and order, right?
Yeah, so I don't know that particular guy. I do know some other J6ers, right?
Can you answer
I guess
my
what
question?
I'm saying is if,
I just
if
want
you
you
accuse
to
us
be
of being
clear. Can we
hypocrites
agree
about law and
that when
order,
DJ Rodriguez tried to kill Officer Fanone, then pled guilty to it and was sentenced to 12 years in jail, that he stood in opposition of law and order?
No, I mean, if you really want to get down to the way we'd see it, it'd be more like collateral damage, right? The point wasn't to assault police officers. The point was to stop a stolen election, right? A patriotic duty of courageous Americans who are willing to stand up for, against a rotten system.
Exactly.
So,
okay. So this is the conclusion of your argument. DJ Rodriguez was fighting for law and order when he tried to kill a police
That's right.
officer.
I don't think it was. Well, actually, I don't know who this particular guy you're talking about is.
Dude, that's the conclusion of your position. That is literally the conclusion of our friend down here's position is that DJ Rodriguez was fighting for law and order when he tried to kill Officer Fanone, right?
Look, let's say in 2028 you believe Trump, wins another election, right? Would you be part of a group?
We're gonna go ahead and move on. Sorry, bruh. I think I did my job there. I think that's about as well as the job as I could have. Reducing the guest down to saying that DJ Rodriguez was fighting for law and order when he tried to kill Officer Fanone. Let's go to move on to the next guest. Hop in that queue if you support Trump. We'll get you up here. Oh boy, these guests today are something, let me tell you. Hey, Annie, I appreciate you so much for the $20 over on Super Chat. That is incredibly kind of you. And he says, this guy's polished delivery and cartoonish rhetoric have me wondering if he's playing a character. Well, let me actually tell you. So that's very popular for people like on the fringe right to like try to have like a nice delivery to what they say because that's about all they can have because the actual words they're saying are kind of crazy. I mean, we see that in other figures too, like Nick Fuentes, for instance. Trying to be like really rhetorically strong to sound good because what they're actually saying is so bad. As well as BP, appreciate you for the $20 super chat saying this guy is horrific. Is he from the Heritage Foundation? Maybe, who knows? Appreciate you for the $25 BP and the $20 Annie. Show some love to BP and Annie down below in that comment section. We're going to move on to the next guest right now. Do give us a minute while we're working on getting that next Trump supporter loaded into the box. We're going to go and get them up here literally right now. Hop in that queue if you support Trump. We'll get you connected. Hop in that queue if you support Trump. We're going to go and move on right now. All right, here we go, guys. In the meantime, while we're trying to get that next guest connected to the stream, double tap on that phone screen and share away. All right, we're moving on to that next guest right now. Guys, I'm doing something right now. I swear it is very important. I swear it's very important what I'm doing right now, you guys. I'm going to tell you what I'm doing here in a second. Just know that it is very, very, very important. There we go. We finally got one. So if you're curious what I was just doing for the last 45 seconds, I invited every single person I saw in the chat that said guess one. And we got one of them to join. I invited like 25 people. One person joined. Hey, what's going on, man? How old are you?
I'm 18.
And what year were you born in?
2005.
Okay. And how did that last guest win the debate? I got him to concede that apparently standing for law and order means trying to kill cops.
He had multiple points that he won. And
can you name
just
one?
because the points where he made like different decisions that MAGA makes than what you guys make.
Could you name like one clear point that he made that he won on?
The sorry.
No.
I'm a bit sick.
Can you?
Would you give me a minute?
Yeah, just
I'm trying to
one clear point.
remember what you guys like clearly talked about.
Yeah.
But I had a lot to agree with.
Okay.
With what he said.
Could you name one clear point that he won on? No. Okay. All right, you have a good one. Yeah, the chat brings up a good point. Honestly, I wasn't even listening to the year he gave me when I asked him. He said 05. I should have been listening closer. You can't be 18 born in 05. What's up? Do you support Trump?
Oh my god, I did actually not think you were going to accept that. My bad.
No worries. I guess we're going to move on to the next guest. The my bad sounds like he doesn't actually want to debate. Hey, Christina, thank you for the $20 over on PayPal, saying for knowing the difference between facts and opinions. Christina, that's incredibly kind of you. Thank you for the $20. Thank you so much for the contribution to what we do here.
I love to watch you, Dean. You're my favorite.
Okay, 5 out of 10 troll. You're like an adult pretending to be a kid. 5 out of 10. 5 out of 10. Kind of odd. Moving on. We're going to get that next guest up in here right now. Let's get to it. Christina W's down below in that comment section for the 20. That is incredibly kind of you. Once again, thank you. As well as Libby. Thank you for the $20 on Venmo, saying I'm late to this debate, but are naturalized citizens not Americans? Apparently not. Thank you for the $20, Libby. Let's get 200 Libby W's, as well as Kim for the $20. Kim says, my son was on food stamps temporarily while working, trying to get a leg up. I have a homeless friend who's 100% disabled. We're going to go and finish this message right now. I have a homeless friend who's 100% disabled, and he receives the lowest rate of EBT because he apparently, quote unquote, makes too much. I'm annoyed with Trumpers who say people who need help are those that are lazy. Yeah, in capitalism, just because you make less money doesn't mean that like you're less lazy or more lazy. Like for instance, I'd say that like a school teacher probably like works harder than like Barron Trump. Yet Barron Trump's net worth is
that a vape?
significantly higher than that of a school teacher. Good question. No, it is not. It is an anxiety pin. Do you support Trump?
Yeah.
No. Okay.
I see it.
One. We're going to move on to the next guest right now. We got Luke loading up into the box. Here we go, folks. Once again, if you want to support me, you can find my Venmo, my PayPal, and the link tree in my bio. I get 100% of all the proceeds over there. They go straight to me. And I really appreciate you guys so much for the love, as well as Kelsey. Thank you for the $7 on Venmo, and Jody with a 5. Thank you guys so much. What's up? Do you support Trump?
Yes, sir, I do.
And how old are you, Luke?
I'm 18, born in 2007.
Okay. And why do you support the worst president of your 18 years of life? Let's hear it.
Well, just to start off, I grew up in a Republican household. So obviously as an 18-year-old, I'm obligated to my own opinion. And I believe that I am not super educated in politics. And I do really like watching you, Parker and Charlie. I watch all three of you. And I honestly like all of the points you guys make. And sorry if I'm a little spotty. I'm here doing an essay for my college course. So yeah, I've grown up in a Republican household, and that's really all I've had to go off of until I've just started doing my own research. And obviously I'm influenced. I live in the state of Oklahoma, so of course an all red state. Kind of have no choice for my opinion, whether I vote or not, just because, it's an all red. But
So,
I would
do you have any
unless
like compelling reasons why Trump is a good president?
I mean, to be honest, it's more of me liking Trump than me liking Kamala. So I just really, and like I'm assuming like the points that I make, you're probably just going to
Listen, bro.
inform me.
Listen, bro. I'm gonna be honest. I think that you would benefit more from like watching the live and hearing me out for my points compared to debating me on the live, because it seems like, in all reality, like you don't have compelling reason to support Trump, and it's just kind of onset by like your family and the society where you live. So if you want to make a point why Trump is a good president, feel free to make it. But if you don't do that soon, I am going to move on to the next guest with no disrespect towards yourself. In fact, I'd humbly like request you to probably watch the live.
Yeah, of course, and I appreciate your honesty. I would like to ask you a question if you'd be willing to answer.
Yeah, for sure, man.
So I've just seen multiple things on different news sources about how when Kamala was running for president and doing her campaigns, that she would change like the way she talks and the way she acts for different states. I'd like to just get your opinion on that.
Yeah. So what you're going to be referring to, I think, is going to be It's been a while since I've had this conversation. I forget what it's called. Code. What is it called? Y'all gotta help me. Code switching. There we go. Code switching. And what code switching is the fact that for many Black Americans, there's this thing called AAVE, which is African American Vernacular English. AAVE has a lot of ties to the transatlantic slave trade, and AAVE is something that is looked at by white Americans as uneducated, as ghetto, as stupid. Right? When in all reality, it is just as valid of a vernacular as the vernacular that I'm speaking in right now. But because of the
100%.
stigmas that surround AAVE, a lot of Black individuals will even do this like subconsciously. When they're speaking in front of a predominantly white audience, they will not speak in AAVE. But when they're not speaking in front of a predominantly white audience, they will speak in AAVE. And I mean, as far as I'm concerned, with everything that I've heard, a lot of Black people code switch. It is very typical for Black people to do. Everyone does it. It's just it's a byproduct and a consequence and a creation of a society that has racism in it. And I don't think that it's fair for you to like judge or stigmatize Kamala Harris for this.
No. I'm not judging. I was just trying to get your opinion on that because I've seen that about a lot on my feed and on the news sources. I would also like to ask, unless you would like to give me an answer or give me a question. I'd like to add, we can move on.
At this point, unless you have a reason why you support Trump, I am going to move on to the next guest.
I do. I do.
Let's hear that reason, my friend.
So obviously I'm an 18-year-old. I'm looking for, I'm in college. So I'm potentially going to look for a partner, a house soon, apartment, whatever. And the prices of buying a house were lower in Trump's presidency than Biden-Harris presidency. So that is kind of important to me.
Okay.
Just for the
the thing is that this is just going to be a creation of like being uninformed. Kamala Harris ran on policy to make houses more affordable. She literally wanted to give you $25,000 to buy one, which wouldn't have only helped you, but it also would have helped incentivize more demand for houses as a whole, which would have caused more development. Official projections tell us that 48 million new houses would have been built in the next 4 years. She also wanted to limit mega corporations from buying single-family homes. Now, in consideration of those facts, she would have been significantly better for you, especially considering that when you do buy a house, you'll be a first-time home buyer. Than Trump, who has no housing affordability policy and is actively fighting to make them more expensive due to the fact that we get a lot of the raw materials to build these houses, like tile, steel, etc., from places like Mexico and Canada, which are now tariffed. But yeah. Consider that, Luke. I would recommend kind of looking into those things. I do appreciate you for coming up, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. And seriously, just because, maybe the best place for you right now isn't on live talking to me, doesn't mean that it's not a good place for you to be watching the live. I think that you could take a lot away from just listening to the debates. What's up, Diego? Do you support Trump?
What's up, man? Yeah,
Okay, the whole chat was asking for you. Are you MAGA's champion today?
No, I'm not. I was rage debating the entire chat just to ask you one simple question.
Okay, well, give me a second here. Kristen, thank you for the $10 over on Vimeo. Sorry, not Kristen, Christian. Christian with the $10 says, hope you enjoyed your break. It was a birthday week as well. Yeah, dude, the break was awesome. It was very needed. Thank you for the $10, Christian. Everybody watching, show some love to Christian down below. As well as Anthony, thank you so much for the $5 over on PayPal. That is very kind of you. Shout out to Christian and Anthony down below. Now, you said you wanted to ask me one simple question. I'm here looking for a debate. So do you want to debate me?
It's just one quick question that I really do want to know about.
Okay, well, I mean, I would prefer you to tell us why you support Trump. Do you not want to tell us why you support Trump?
What?
Like, you could ask a question if we follow your question with a debate.
Oh, well, it would be nothing towards like Trump or anything. It'd be specifically towards you.
Well, yeah. Well, then, I mean, I'd like things to stay relevant. So, Diego, why don't you tell us why you support Trump?
I actually don't know. I'm being completely honest. I actually don't know.
All right, Diego, you have a good rest of your day, my friend. The stakes are high, dude. People are dying, and I wish that was a joke. People die when they don't have access to healthcare. He cut off the healthcare access for 10 million people. I can assure you that at least one person is going to die because of that decision. Okay? Right? People are dying. The stakes are high. It is worth being informed. Holy shit. Let's go to move on to the next guest. What's up, B. Ron? You support Trump?
I do.
B. Ron, you really shouldn't do that. He's a terrible guy. Terrible president, too. No. MAGA is bad.
Why is he a terrible guy?
I mean, he's boasted about perving on naked teens and naked women unconsensually while they're like getting dressed. That's a good start. That makes him a really terrible guy.
So what do you think about the economy under Biden? I know you're younger, so you don't really know about his first term during 2016 and stuff. But what do you think about that? I mean, the economy was absolute crap. Harris, rage baiting. I mean, it was nonstop feuding.
Yeah. Are you eventually going to get around to responding to what I said?
What was your question?
My friend, I didn't ask a question. You asked a question. You asked what makes him a terrible guy, and I answered it.
Okay.
Well, I'll wrap it back in. At some point in our conversation, I'll wrap it back in. Whatever.
Wrap it back in.
Tony, thank you for the star map. Hey, you just told us that the Biden-Harris administration did a bunch of bad for the economy.
Exactly.
I'll ask a question now. What is one bad thing that they did to the American economy? What was one bad economic policy they passed?
One bad are mandated vaccines.
Who did they mandate vaccines for?
You know how many people lost
Who did they mandate vaccines for?
You know how many people lost their jobs and got kicked out of the military because of their mandated vaccines?
Wait, jobs in the military, like for the most part, like are not economically productive. As well as
a lot of soldiers.
As well as the fact that we saw that unemployment rates continued to go down under the Biden-Harris administration, and the highest unemployment rates that we saw onset by the pandemic was in April of 2020 at 14.8% under Trump's first term.
So you completely muted me as I was,
because you're interrupting me
on that. But no, a lot of service members got removed from the military because of Biden and Harris's vaccine mandate.
I think I agreed with the vaccine mandate.
Trump did.
Vaccine mandate was a W for the military.
Trump did reinstate those members who wanted to go back into the service without getting the vaccine that they are able to get in.
Right.
That's fact.
So point number one, could you tell me like how many people were like fired from the military because they didn't want to comply and get the vaccine?
I can't give you an exact number. No, I know
shit.
there was.
Okay. All right. That's where your point fails. That's
Do you
really
know?
important.
Do you have it?
No,
I mean, you're the one that gets
I don't
paid
know. I
by
think
the
it's. I think it's.
CDC.
What? I get paid by the CDC?
The DNC. I
Oh
said.
no, I don't get paid by the DNC. What a cope. Why are you crying?
So I'm not crying at all. What's the number? I mean, what's the number? I'm sure you have it.
We could get back on topic in 1 second. Why do you think I'm paid by the DNC?
Come on, man.
Yeah, I answer the question.
It's pretty obvious.
What
buddy.
is the obvious answer?
That you're not paid? I mean, didn't
No, that
they
I am
release-
paid. Give me the obvious evidence that I'm paid by the DNC. Let's hear it.
You were literally on their pay sheet.
I'm
You
on
were
the-
literally
what do you-
there was a
the-
pay
there-
log.
there's a pay
of
sheet
where
of the
funds-
DNC?
there was literally for the campaign a list. You're telling me there wasn't a list?
Can I see
with-
the pay sheet for the DNC?
How am I going to show you it?
Nicholas, thank you so much for the $10 on Venmo for the CDC paycheck. Thank you for the love, Nicholas. Let's get 100 Nicholas W's. I listen, a pay sheet from the DNC sounds like some bullshit made by some MAGA droid on Twitter. I'm gonna be honest. Did you
MAGA droid.
Did you find this on Twitter?
Absolutely not. I don't have a Twitter.
I find that. Where did you find it? Some Telegram group chat?
No, I mean it was multiple. It was going around multiple news sources, especially when you guys were kind of going pretty big. The four of you guys were going pretty big with the Harris campaign and things like that, and you guys were getting paid trying to use social media to persuade people in your age group to.
Wait, so you're saying I got paid by the Harris campaign, right?
No, it was the DNC. I mean, the DNC funded the Harris campaign.
So I got
mean, they
paid
were-
to help
they
Harris
were
win the
actually-
election?
But do you agree that you
Yo,
guys weren't even
Kelsey,
given
thank
a-
you so much for the $10 on Venmo from the DNC. There's my DNC paycheck. Thank you, Kelsey. Yo, dude.
Do you agree?
As well as,
do you
let's see here,
agree that you
Lori.
weren't
1
even
second,
getting-
I'm still getting paid by the DNC. Lori, thank you so much for the $50 super chat over on YouTube. Saying, Dean, here's $50 from the DNC. Thank you so much, Lori. Show some love to Lori down below in that chat for the 50 from the DNC. As well as Gabriella with a $5 on PayPal from the direct deposit from the DNC. Look at this. I am getting paid. Excuse me. I am getting paid by the DNC. All that DNC money is coming in right now.
Okay.
So once
done?
again, what's the pay sheet here? Tell me a little more.
You completely interrupted to sit there and read a whole bunch of crap. I mean, that's what you do when you start to get whooped and you start to do something. You either mute, change the subject, or distract to get you completely off of topic.
I was just thinking. Well, actually, it was on topic because you were accusing me of getting paid by the DNC, and then I was thanking my payments from the DNC. About on topic as you could get, my friend.
Man, the way you twist things is absolutely crazy. It's
Yes,
crazy.
I'm twisting it. I just twist everything. I twist everything. Dalia, thank you for the shiny air balloon. As well as
So you're
Christy,
not
thank you for
gonna-
the $5 on Venmo for the DNC page sheet. And as well as Wendy, thank you for the $5. Kelsey with the $10 on Venmo from the DNC. Jillian with a 1. Then Nicholas, thank you so much for the 10. That is very kind of you. And Kim, thank you so much for the $20 from the DNC. Show some love to Kim down below. Let's get 300 Kim W's. As well as Tierra, that is TIERRA with a $30 donation over on PayPal. As well as Tierra, I just read your message. Thank you so much for your kind words there and appreciation of what we do here. I want to thank you for being here. And chat, please show some love to Tierra down below. As well as Cloud, thank you for the $20 over on Venmo saying daily cash out from the DNC. Dude, we're getting paid good today. Thank you for the love, Cloud. I mean, DNC, thank you, Cloud. Show some love to Cloud down below in that comment section. Thank you so much. Actually, we're going to have my DNC buddy join us for a second while I am using the restroom. He'll talk to you for around 30 seconds here while I am taking a biological bathroom break in the bathroom funded by the DNC. They got me set up in there. Nice bathroom, nice DNC bathroom. Nice DNC bathroom. There is a golden framed
DNC funded
picture
co-host in here.
of Biden on top of the toilet. Oh, and then Trump's face is on the toilet paper. Welcome in, my DNC brethren. I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna go pee. BRB, guys. I'll be back in like 60-second stops. BRB.
What's good, everyone? Welcome in. I'm DNC paid co-host sponsored stream. What's good, everyone joining in? The DNC had to pay me about $1 million to join the stream right now. So, how you doing, B-Ron? What's
Pretty
good?
sure it was 250,000.
No, it was actually $1 million. You're getting it wrong, buddy.
No, it was definitely 250,000.
It was $1 million.
Campaign. Okay.
Wait,
Okay.
Ron, I have a question. Where'd you see this information that Dean was paid by the DNC?
Well, it was you, Dean, Harry, and a couple of other.
And what makes you think that, Ron?
Call you influencers.
What makes you think that?
What makes me think what?
That we're paid by the DNC. Where'd you get that information?
There's literally their funding sheet was all over. I mean, and
Where?
it had
What funding sheet? Where was this at?
I forgot the company.
Really?
That it was under. It was an entertainment source that you guys were under.
An entertainment source. Well, I just want to let you know.
That was your management.
I don't have a management company. So how did you find that I was affiliated with a management company when I don't have one?
I mean, it's easy to say it now because you guys are going to deny it because.
Wait, no, I'm serious.
there's
I've literally
no direct
never had a
course-
management. Wait, hold up. I just want to let you know. I've never had a management company. So the idea that you said that I was one of the names is actually hilarious because I've never once had a management company in my life. And by the way, Wendy, thank you so much for the $5 for the DNC. Thank you.
Management company. Okay, so let me take a guess. I've been gone. Obviously, I was using the restroom. If I had to guess, now he's shifted the goalpost from saying that I'm funded by the DNC to saying that I work under a management company, and then somehow that means I'm funded by the DNC.
No, he said me, you, Harry, Chris, we're all paid by the.
Oh, we lost Barker. The DNC cut his mic. He was divulging too much information.
Yeah, the DNC just cut out my mic. Too much information. Yeah. So he said that we're paid by the DNC $250,000, and he saw this all over the payment sheets, and he's like, it's associated with some management. I'm like, dude, I've literally never been affiliated with a management company. Please explain to me how you saw me on this list.
Yeah, listen, I have a. Oh, I think it's gone now. I have a management company. They help me read my emails. They help schedule me to go to in-person events, show up on different podcasts. Sometimes cool deals. Right now I'm running a deal with Ground News over on Instagram. Right? How does that mean I'm paid by the DNC?
The management company that was listed on their funding sheets, you guys were associated with.
So I'm associated with Pallet. They're my management company, but they don't pay me.
And were they funded by the DNC?
Think about it this way. How do they stay in business? Do they pay their influencers or do their influencers pay them? Now you see it. It makes sense, right? They're doing a service. Listen, they're doing a service for me, right? And in a functioning capitalist market, if you do a service for somebody, do you pay them or do they pay you?
So basically, they were getting paid and then distributing the money to you guys to do them a service.
Oh,
is that what you're saying you were doing?
So now you're saying that they're doing a service for me and they're paying me so they could do a service for me? What kind of business model is that? Oh, we're gonna go out. We're gonna do a bunch of services for a bunch of people, and we're gonna pay them so we could do the service. That's not how it works.
You're gonna sit on live and you're gonna spew a whole bunch of BS, and then when people start to call you out on your BS, then you want to circle around and spew out, where'd you get those numbers from? How many people got kicked out of the military?
Being associated with a management company does not mean you're paid by the DNC. What you're essentially saying is he's paying someone paid by the DNC. That's not him being paid by the DNC, you idiot. Secondly, if you want to look at this, you said that you saw me on these different sites. I've never once been affiliated with a management company. So even if what your statement was true, that was meaning that you was paid by the DNC, it wouldn't indicate that I was paid by the DNC. And therefore, you saw this off some random thing on Twitter. Right, you see something in AI on Twitter and you think it's real. He's the guy that goes on Twitter and he saw the AI picture
I don't have a
of
Twitter.
me, Dean, Harry, literally in the AI clothes, like the fucking ones that the conservatives made, and he thinks that's real. That's this guy, dude.
Dude,
that's
people
his
still
source for information.
People still comment that. As well as Catherine. Thank you for the $20 super chat. That is very kind of you, Catherine. Everybody, please show some love to Catherine. Catherine says, have you seen the photo of Trump with a PILL in his teeth at the U.S. Open? I have seen that. Yeah, like what the fuck? Dude, what is that PILL? Super strange. As well as Joe. Thank you for the $10 on super chat saying, I think he thinks that Dean and Parker are Brian, Tyler Cohen, and David Pacman. Well, that's the chorus stuff. Yeah, we're not involved with the chorus stuff. However, right, my thoughts are like interesting on that. As well as, let's see here. Phantom, thank you for the $10 right now. I appreciate you so much for the love. Thank you, Phantom. Show some love to Phantom down below. As well as Libby for the $10 over on Venmo, saying the DNC pay sheet was supposed to stay concealed. I know. My information got leaked, dude. Oh, no. Now everybody knows that I'm paid $1 billion per year by the DNC. As well as Sarah for the $5.
It was
Morgan for the
$250,000,
$5.
but okay.
And then Salvador with the $5. And Ardens with the $5 over on PayPal. I appreciate you guys so much for the love. Thank you.
Cloud
Okay.
with the $20 from the DNC. Thank you so much, Cloud. Can we get some W's for Cloud in the comment section? Libby with the $10 and Nicholas with the $10. You know, the DNC money is coming in right now. By the way, Ron, I have a question. Was it $250,000 each or like separated? How did we get this money?
Yeah, it was $250,000 each.
Oh, goddamn.
Each? Where did? By the way, the claim that you're referencing isn't even 250 each. I just want to let you know. But the secondly, like,
so you do see it then?
no, I've seen the claim from other people. This is specifically a claim that was originally just about Harry and Chris, had nothing to do with me and Dean, and
Yeah.
then somehow people are associating with me and Dean simply just because in the past we were friends with Harry and Chris. That's literally it.
Yeah, like so the claim is that like Pallet legitimately received like $200,000 from the DNC in like 2020, because they also have a marketing side. They have a bunch of really smart people that run ad campaigns. The DNC paid them $200K to run an ad campaign. That's pretty typical. And then just because they also have an influencer management side, they then basically associated that with Harry getting paid. And now because I'm signed with Pallet 5 years later, now you're basically associating that with me getting paid. But be Ron, listen, this is getting a bit boring. Bunch of people have leave. Give an argument for why you support Trump, or you're gonna get pushed, and we're gonna move on to the next guest.
I told you I support Trump because the economy is better under Trump than it is under the Biden and Harris campaign.
Name one metric.
Wait, actually, ring. 1 second, I'm getting a call. Who's this? Oh, it's Biden. 1 second, Biden is. So actually, you're wrong. In the second quarter of this year, 52% of S&P 500 companies reported lower profit margins than they did in Q1. And Q1 wasn't pretty either. We actually experienced an economic downturn where GDP got smaller. Okay, not to mention that long-term unemployment is at an all-time high since 2017 in his first term. And for the first time in like 10 years, today, we now have more unemployed Americans than job openings. Not to mention that according to the Federal Reserve, our GDP growth is down to 1.4%. Parker, I appreciate you so much for coming up. Thank you so much for covering me. From 2.5% last year. Every relevant macroeconomic data point is worse off today than it was last year, including but not limited to general unemployment, long-term unemployment, job openings compared to unemployed Americans, job growth, inflation, GDP growth. It's all doing worse, my friend. You're just spewing a bunch of malarkey, okay? Right?
I'm spewing malarkey because I'm living every day. I go out, I see people and how they're living now compared to how they were a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. It's completely different. What's the price of eggs? How much have eggs dropped?
Oh,
how much is
eggs have actually gone up by $1 since January, according to BLS.gov. Go to Google, type in grocery prices, Bureau of Labor Statistics, which is run by one of Donald Trump's Heritage Foundation dudes.
An 18 count of eggs was over $7.
Wait, I have a question.
$7.
Do you think that your local grocery store is a macroeconomic data point? No. Okay? Where do we get the macroeconomic data points from? Places like the Bureau of Labor Statistics or the U.S. Economic Bureau. Okay? Once again, if you go to Google and you type in grocery prices, BLS, you could go to the Bureau of Labor Statistics website where they've been tracking the grocery prices. And what you will see is that the price of eggs today is around $1.10 higher than it was in January when Donald Trump was inaugurated.
I don't think that's true, but
I just gave you the source. You can't refute that, my friend.
I'll look at that source and I'll check that out. Another thing is too is the housing. The interest rate on housing. I bought my house, and I have a 2.9% interest rate. People, when the housing market was going crazy and realtors were making tons of money, people were scooping up houses that should have been $90,000 to $100,000 for $350,000 at a 8% interest rate.
You can't make this up. You can't make this up. When was the last time the Feds cut the interest rates?
When was the last time they cut it?
Yeah.
They just cut it, didn't they? What? 6 months ago?
The last time they cut the rates was in December of 2024 when Biden was president.
Okay.
So you're telling us that you support Trump's economy because of lower interest rates. The last time we had lower interest rates was when Biden was president.
He just got in. Did they not just deny that they weren't going to lower the interest rates? He's about to right now.
Wait, I thought you told me that your life has already gotten easier in the last 8 months.
150%. 150%.
Name one macroeconomic data point that is better.
There's more people traveling. I mean, what were you going to say?
Name one macroeconomic data point that has gotten better.
I would say that, I mean, I don't know. I would say that he's working right. I would say right now he's working on, he just announced that he's going to do the housing crisis, that he's going to make that, he's going to start taking care of that, start to drop the interest rates because for some reason they don't want to drop the interest rates.
None of these are macroeconomic data points. Saying that Donald Trump is going to take care of the housing crisis is not a macroeconomic data point that's gone better in the last 8 months. Come on. Come on, Pookie.
I'm just saying, man, you haven't lived through a couple, different terms where
yes, I have.
You've been alive, but you haven't been on your own and survived during.
I'm 56 years old with 10 children. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I have a little bit more life experience than you.
Yeah, I'm sure, buddy. I'm sure. I mean, I've been through a couple of different presidents, where I was on my own, and I can feel a difference between Democrat and Republicans.
I feel the difference. I feel it. Dude, you're not God, okay? You can't just intuitively reason your way to complex macroeconomic conclusions, okay? These are things that have to be studied. These are things that have to be researched. And these are things in which we must apply critical thought to. If you're sitting here and telling me that you think that things have gotten better in the last 8 months, but there's not a single macroeconomic variable in which is indicated that you're right, obviously, you're gonna be wrong. And if you're gonna sit here and tell me that you support the wannabe authoritarian 34-count felon that is now deploying the quote-unquote Department of War on American citizens in places like Chicago and D.C., all because you think he's better for the economy, even though you cannot give one coherent argument that he is better for the economy, we're gonna write you off as a little bit crazy. Have you been to DC? I have been to DC a handful of times. But before we get your argument there, I once again we're not then exploring why you think Trump is better for the economy. Name one bad economic policy the Biden-Harris administration passed, or name one good economic policy the Trump administration passed.
Trump is currently reversing everything that has been done during those 4 years.
No, he's actually taking credit for it. No fucking joke. The Biden-Harris administration passed the infrastructure bill that is funding projects around this country. this week it came out that at one of these job sites where construction is still underway because it's a large project in like North Carolina, I think, that is funded for by the infrastructure bill, he took down the sign that said this was paid for by Joe Biden's infrastructure bill, and now is saying that this is paid for by President Donald Trump, funded by the infrastructure bill that was passed by Biden, right? So not only is he not rescinding the shit that Biden did, he is literally taking credit for it. And in fact, that leads me to a really good question. If Biden and his economic policy was so bad, why is Trump literally taking credit for it today?
I don't think he's taking credit for it. I don't think he would want to take credit for anything that Biden did during his presidency. I mean, I live in an area that got smashed by the floods pretty much this time last year. And we got our town, I live in a little town, it got completely wiped out. We were on our own. We didn't have any federal help. We didn't have any, it felt like kind of a war zone. I live in the mountains of Tennessee, right on the North Carolina border, around
Wait a second, I'm going to have to cut you off. What does that say?
Okay. President Joe Biden. Okay.
Read off all the text you see on screen.
President Joe Biden's bipartisan infrastructure law.
Okay. And that bipartisan infrastructure law, that was passed in 2021 by Biden, right?
Okay.
What does this say? Read it out loud.
Is that in the same location?
Read it out loud.
Is that in the same location?
Yes. Read it out loud.
I mean, we're able to see it.
I'll read it out loud. Philadelphia rail yard modernization. President Donald J. Trump rebuilding America's infrastructure, funded by the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. The Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act is the bipartisan infrastructure law. So he is taking credit for Biden's economic policy. So once again, if Biden's economic policy was so bad, why is Trump taking credit for it?
Well, infrastructure was something that needed to be done. So if that was under Biden, and that's something he's continuing. He is the president now.
Well, it's not.
So
It's not continuing it. The bill was passed in 2021 and allocated funding.
So what
for
would
the
you
next
like?
10 years.
The blue sign to stay up and just, he's not our president anymore. So therefore, it wouldn't be under, it would be his infrastructure that he started.
Wait, if you're okay
but
with
Trump
taking
is
down like
continuing.
signage or depictions of things in relationship to old presidents, then would you agree with the liberals that we should like take down all of the statues of like old Confederate leaders because they're not leaders anymore?
I mean, I don't really have an issue with the Confederate statues being taken down. I mean, I don't really have an issue with that.
Oh, okay, you're not one of those conservatives. You're not one of those.
No, I'm not. I mean, no, I'm not. I'm not like, I live in an area, that's
good
pretty
for you.
strong.
You know what? You know what, Ron? Good for you. That's the first redeeming thing you've said so far in this live. That I agree with. Good for you.
But as far as like continuing in infrastructure is something that is terrible in this country.
Okay, so then you think that Biden had good economic policy because he passed a $1 trillion bill to renew it.
If Trump is continuing it, absolutely. I think.
Okay,
I think
so now that you've agreed that Biden passed one really good economic policy, can you name any bad economic bills he passed?
I mean, he just did a whole bunch of nothing, though.
Wait,
he continued.
We just agreed on like one thing that he did.
As far as but wasn't that infrastructure bill? Wasn't that started? Wasn't that started through the Trump administration in 2016?
Well, A, Trump admin started in 2017, and B, no, this is something that Biden did and got passed through Congress his first year in office.
And it's continued now. The same bill.
It's a 10-year bill. Yes.
Okay.
Right?
That's good. That's fine.
So now we're agreeing that Biden was doing things for the economy that were good. Right?
I agree that yes, it needed help. Yes.
So we've identified one positive thing that Biden did to the American economy. Can you identify any negative things that he did to the American economy?
Like I said, took jobs away from people who had careers in the military or careers elsewhere, nurses, doctors, tons of people who had corporate jobs lost their great jobs that they've been at for a long time because of a mandate of a vaccine. Where if it's your body, your choice, right? That's your guys' motto. It shouldn't have been an issue.
Okay, well, if you think that us losing federal
Especially
jobs
now
is bad,
saying that the vaccines are.
if you think that us losing federal jobs is a bad thing for the economy, then you would tell us that you hate Doge. They've only fired over 100,000 people.
What did you say? Doge fired over 100,000 people?
Uh-huh. So you
Okay.
hate Doge. You think that Donald Trump's Doge is terrible, right?
What was the 100,000? I mean, the jobs that they got, weren't they reinstated too?
No, like 50,000 people were fired from the VA. They're out of those jobs.
What were the jobs that were there? Because I know they got picked up.
Oh, wait. Yo, actually, so estimates suggest that over 200,000 jobs were lost in the first 2 months of 2025 due to Doge. Yeah, and the Department of Veteran Affairs is expecting to eliminate over 80,000 jobs.
Okay.
So that's like really bad, right?
Anybody who loses their job, who's been at their job for a while, yes.
Okay, can you
For a
please give me
reason
any
that's-
sources to demonstrate that Donald Trump's vaccine mandate on the military lost more than like 200,000 jobs?
Donald Trump didn't have a mandate on the vaccine. It was
I know the way that he was firing people is through Doge, but you're suggesting the way that Biden fired people is through the vaccine mandate. So give me a source to indicate that we lost over like 200,000 jobs from Biden's vaccine mandate on like federal contractors.
well, the whole thing with Elon Musk and Doge and them cramming through numbers and finding places where they could cut corners and where money was.
I'm sorry, I got to cut you off. Yeah, I found a source here that that Biden's vaccine mandate on federal contractors led to a cut of 6,800 workers. So Biden cut 7,000 jobs in like 4 years from this vaccine mandate. Now Trump has cut over 200,000 jobs in the first 6 months of his term due to Doge. So if you're telling us the most destructive and terrible thing that Biden did to the American economy was that vaccine mandate that led to 6,800 people either losing their jobs or quitting.
That was forced
well,
out.
this is obviously going to be like significantly like better in contrast to the over 200,000 jobs that have been cut because of Trump. And actually, no, that wasn't forced because just like all the other vaccine mandates that federal contractors in the military already have, like polio, measles, etc., they just added a new one. And if they didn't want to get the vaccine, they had to leave. But that didn't mean it was forced on them. Now, additionally, what was forced on them was Donald Trump's Doge cuts. Because regardless of what they wanted, they couldn't opt for a vaccine or not. They didn't have a choice. They lost the goddamn job. They were fired.
Because they didn't want to come into office too. We were going into the DC situation as well. And I asked you if you've been to DC.
Wait, I'm not going to let you pivot because once again, Biden lost 7,000 jobs. Trump has lost over 200,000. Which one is worse?
No, well, you can't say Biden lost 7,000. Though there was a lot of people who left the jobs before.
Yeah, specifically according to
got fired.
according to
if that's the
ABC, this
number
is
that
more
the-
than 68 workers have been cut or left their jobs because of the vaccine mandate.
There was a lot more people who left their jobs
Okay, give me a source.
because of the mandate, because they didn't want to get fired.
Okay, give me a source.
And left like, what was that?
Give me a source.
Where people left their jobs.
Yeah, how many people
willingly?
left their jobs because of the vaccine mandate? Let's see it.
It's the same thing with the shaving mandate that's happening right now.
That's not a source.
I don't have a source for you there, buddy.
Okay, well, if you don't have a source, then you don't have a claim.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
So your standpoint on so since I don't have a claim on that, so you're against. I asked you if you've been to DC before the cleanup, since he's you know, as you would say, declared war on the people.
Dude, me and my girlfriend walked on the streets of DC for like 2
I did too,
hours
with my son.
on our way to our Airbnb at like 11 p.m. Yeah, so I have been to DC. Oh hell yeah.
Okay, cool. And I went with my 2-year-old son and my wife. It's sad to see all the tents. It was sad to see the you would have the White House right there, and then a couple blocks down the street in the middle of the park, there was hundreds.
I just want to clarify.
tents
You think that we
lined
should
up.
get like criminals out of DC?
No, DC is a horrible.
Sorry,
I
thank you
mean,
for the galaxy. So do you
DC
think
was
that we should get the criminals out of DC?
I mean, you're. My phone's.
Should we get the criminals out of DC? Should we lock them all up?
No.
No, we shouldn't get. Wait, was that what Trump's doing?
Because I know where you're gonna go with that. Well, if we had to get the criminals out of DC, then Trump. That's where you were going with that.
Said it better than I could.
Because that's where you were gonna pivot to.
Well, that's not a pivot. If we want to get the criminals out of DC, do this cleanup, right? Well, right now we kind of have like fences and like security around one. Like, what do we do with him?
Have you been to DC since the National Guard has been deployed to DC?
No, I haven't been to DC in the last 2 months.
It looks awesome. It looks amazing.
Donald
you
Trump
don't
doesn't
have-
care about crime. He doesn't give a fuck, especially crime in DC. How do I know this? He pardoned violent offenders that try to kill police officers at our country's capital and called them patriots. He doesn't care.
I mean,
Boom.
we're gonna have different points on that.
That's all that. There's no way to have a different point on that. DJ Rodriguez, for instance, took a stun gun, drove it into the neck of Officer Fanone, gave him a heart attack, pled guilty to violent assault on a police officer, was sentenced to 12 years in jail. 4 years into his term, Trump lets him out and calls him a patriot. Donald Trump does not give a single fuck and or shit about violent crime in DC.
So what about the riots and everything that was going on?
Oh, what about what? Weren't you just accusing
in New
me of
York,
anything?
LA?
Oh, yeah, riots in LA have everything to do with my claim that Donald Trump doesn't care about violent crime, right? Everything to do. It's so
That's
relevant.
what he's.
That is
That's
a
what
great
he's
point.
stopping.
That is a great
That's
point.
what he's stopping. How
wait,
many?
wait. So then, wait. If he wants to stop violent criminals, why did he let them out of jail?
There wasn't anything. There was some violent people
That were let out of jail. Yes, that's my claim.
There was violent people that were let out of jail.
Mm-hmm. And
But there is
patriots
also-
and pardoned.
Yeah, as they should, because
What? So, dude, you are a hypocrite because you're telling me that, you support the Trump administration taking all these criminals off of the streets of DC. But if they try to kill a police officer, they should be let out of jail and labeled a patriot. What?
I mean, that's not how I said it. So you're saying that everybody at the January 6th was out for violence?
No, I said 72 of them.
72 of them.
72
out for
people
violence.
were sent to jail for trying to kill cops, basically. Trump labeled them as patriots and let them out. And then he said, good, that should have happened.
And how many were arrested?
So if
How
I
many were arrested in the
if I kill a cop in DC, should I be locked up or should I be called a patriot and let free? If I try to kill a cop in DC, what should happen to me?
So if you should be locked up. If you reverse,
Wait, if I should be
But why
locked up
would
for
you
trying to kill a
mention-
cop
why-
in
but
DC,
why would you
why shouldn't
mention-
DJ Rodriguez?
So why would you mention that, but then you don't mention the cop that got shot at the riots?
He's trying so hard. He's trying so hard to find a way
It's
out.
not how-
Stop
but how?
trying to find a way out. My argument is clear. I brought up the people that were sent to jail for trying to kill cops on January 6th, like DJ Rodriguez, and now Trump let them out and labeled them as patriots. And you said, good, as they should have been. Okay? So answer my super common sense question. If I should be sent to jail for trying to kill a cop in DC, why shouldn't DJ Rodriguez? Why is it a good thing for DJ Rodriguez to walk free after trying to kill a cop in DC? But if I tried to kill a cop in DC, I should be locked up. Why is that?
I don't know anything about the DJ Rodriguez situation.
Oh,
so I
don't worry, my
can't.
friend.
I can't.
I'll give
I
you-
can't really speak upon that.
I'll give you everything you need to know. I'll give you everything to need to know. The day is J6. Okay, we have a law enforcement officer. His name is Officer Fanone. Officer Fanone was not on the clock, but he decided to step up and help protect the Capitol, so he stood in front of the doors alongside other officers. Officer Fanone was then beat down by the mob. People hit him with pipes. Somebody even took his own gun and tried to draw it on him. Meanwhile, the other MAGA violent rioters were shouting, "Kill him with his own gun." Eventually, Officer Fanone got up, but then DJ Rodriguez was able to get a hold of his taser, took it out of his waistband, drove it into his neck. Officer Fanone dropped on the spot and had a heart attack. When he was then pulled out by the other officers on duty, his life was saved as he was rushed to the hospital. Officer Fanone was then later arrested for this because he was caught in DJ Rodriguez was then later arrested for this as he was caught on Fanone's body camera by the FBI, super intimidating. He pled guilty to the FBI. He was like, "I did it, guys." He went to jail for 12 years, 4 years into his term, January 21st, 2025. Donald Trump let him out and labeled him a patriot. And that is what you're now defending? Because earlier you told me that he should have pardoned DJ Rodriguez. So you basically think if somebody tries to beat and kill cops in our country's capital, they should be able to walk free as patriots. Isn't that a little bit hypocritical?
I'm comparing the riots that were going on with the Trayvon Martin, that whole era of things that were just a complete mess, to the January 6th, which you're stating was so horrible.
I don't know what you think you're trying to compare, because I'm talking about how Trump let them out of jail and how this would be hypocritical to your claim that he just wants to clean up DC of criminals.
Was the cop? I haven't seen the video. I didn't see any of the footage. Was he? You said he was not on the clock, so obviously he wasn't in a uniform.
He was in a uniform. He went and got in uniform, volunteered, went on the clock. Yes.
That wasn't stated. I mean, you just said
what I meant to say is that he wasn't scheduled to work, but then he worked anyways. He went to work. He was in uniform on the clock.
So he was in uniform. He identified himself as a cop. There was no doubt that
right, and this is obviously true. He had his body cam on, and his body cam was on.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
He had his body cam on. He was on the clock.
So if what you're saying correlates with what the body camera footage is, I would have to look into that. Then he shouldn't have gotten pardoned.
Okay, but Donald Trump did anyway. Isn't that hypocritical to your suggestion that Donald Trump cares about cleaning up crime in D.C. when he's literally let violent criminals that try to kill cops in D.C. roam free on the streets and label them as patriots? Is that not hypocritical?
If that's how it went, then yes.
Okay.
If that's how it went.
Trump's hypocrite.
But like I said, I haven't seen any of the footage. I haven't seen.
Go look at that footage right now, man. We're going to move on to the next guest while you're looking at that footage. Let's go to get that next guest up here. Everyone just give us a minute. In the meantime, while we're trying to get that next Trump supporter connected, Dennis, thank you so much for the $50 over on Super Chat. Dennis, that is incredibly kind of you, my friend. Thank you so much, Dennis. Dennis with the 50 big one says, more DNC money for the ditch the numbskull collar, the DNC. Thank you for the $50, Dennis. That is so much money. That's very kind of you, bro. I want everybody watching to show some love to Dennis down below in that comment section. Thank you so much for the love, man. You are awesome, awesome, awesome. As well as Amanda with the $5 over on Super Chat. And then HR Smithy with the $20 on Super Chat says, it's actually gross when people use 2024 floods as a diss to the government. In my town, Burnsville, we got so much help and support from FEMA and our government. It's just a disgusting sham of misinformation. I think that there's sometimes when we could like critique things of the government, like defunding FEMA. But like most of the times, I might agree with you. I might agree. What's up, Cody? Do you support Trump?
Dean, I support Trump. You know me very well.
Oh, Cody, it's been forever. I remember kicking you last time because you were like espousing some misogynistic shit. Before I determine if I want to talk to you again or not, there's actually somebody else I got to thank because holy fuck, Jessica. Thank you so much for the $75 donation on Venmo. Jessica, thank you so much. That is so kind of you. Thank you, Jessica, for the $75. Let's get 750 Jessica W's down below in the chat. That is so very kind of you. Thank you so much. Jessica says, for whatever reason, your pin annoys the piss out of MAGA people. It's so often a focal point when they try to run out of things to yap about. And the next one is on me, good sir. Truth hurts. Keep that shit up. Bro, yeah, and the pin bit, that was like a troll, but then everybody on the right took it so seriously. But I appreciate you for the love, Jessica. That is so kind of you. Thank you for being here, and thank you so much for your donation. If you want to support me, you can find my Venmo and my PayPal in the link tree in my bio on TikTok. I get 100% of the proceeds that are sent over those two platforms, as well as you could attach a message and I'll give you a shout out like Jessica and then 3 other people here. Ian, thank you for the $24 on PayPal. Ian didn't attach a message, only love. Thank you, Ian. Show some love to Ian down below. And then Ann with the $20 did attach a message, but asked me not to read it on there. You got it. I'll read it to myself. Thank you for the $20, Ann. And then Heather with the $10 as well, saying you've come so far. Thank you, Heather. And then Katie with the $10 on Venmo. Katie says, thank you for always keeping me company on migraine days. Katie, drink some water, pop some Advil. Hopefully you enjoy this stream, and I'm so sorry that's happening to you. Thank you so much for being here. Cody, do you have anything legitimate you'd like to talk to me about?
Sir, I always have something legitimate I'd like to talk to you about. Sometimes you bump me, but that's all right. But we're going to talk about what you and old dude was just talking about, how the cop was, there, and he did get tased, right, with a MAGA supporter, evidently, who did tase him, correct?
Right.
And you said he did have health problems afterward. And you said he did do how many years?
He was sentenced to 12 years in jail.
Okay, how many years of that did he do?
4.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So you say Donald Trump pardoned him, and which he did get pardoned. I know that. I know your story, but how was your agreement with the parole board itself? Let's just say Donald Trump paroled, done this, but you say, okay, well, what's the parole board when they go in and parole somebody? What do they go in and ask? Have you been what?
I have no clue what parole boards ask, my friend, because I've never been on
they go
parole.
in and ask, have you been rejuvenated? Like, have you learned from your lesson? So after 4 years, do you think he learned from his lesson, said, hey, I should not have done that? Or do you think he said, do you think maybe he's rejuvenated, like he's not going to ever do that again? Or do you think he's going to do that again?
So first and foremost, parole isn't typically offered to people until they're 50% up with their term, and had
parole's offered after 12 years of a 25-year sentence,
and had exactly 50% of their term, and had good standing when they were in jail. Now, secondly, there was no board of review for DJ. There was no in-depth look at if he felt bad or if he was doing better.
That wasn't the question, Dean.
Like,
that was
Trump
not
just simply let him out of jail.
I asked you, how do you feel about the parole board? Do you think they are right or wrong when they let somebody out who has done the same issue, except worse?
I think that parole could be a good thing sometimes, bad things.
Let's say the scenario was worse.
I think it's entirely case and context dependent.
Okay, then you call him a patriot, correct? You call Donald Trump. You say that what they say, he's a patriot for what he did.
Yeah,
and then this.
Yeah, DJ
okay,
Rodriguez is just as patriotic as the Confederates.
Okay, so let's go on to Kyle Rittenhouse. You would believe he's guilty, right? In your mind,
like legally guilty.
Legally, however you want to put it, Kyle Rittenhouse.
I think that Kyle Rittenhouse is a huge piece of shit that knew exactly what would happen. Now, legally speaking, unfortunately, he put himself in the scenario of technically having a legal claim to self-defense, but I think he knew that it was exactly what was going to happen. I think he knowingly put himself in that scenario so he could have that technical claim to self-defense. I think he's a huge POS. But what do you want to know about Rittenhouse? Feel free to unmute. You just interrupted me. It's automatic.
What I said was, how's that? You just said the same thing. How'd that cop do the same thing? Put himself in that position, knowing? Are you calling that cop a piece of shit? Because you just said he put himself in that situation, knowing that could happen.
Wait, what?
You said Kyle Rittenhouse put himself in that situation knowing that could happen. And so he can get away legally defense. That cop that was off duty that day, he did not have to go in. Why did he put himself in that position? To go in.
It was his job?
Okay, Kyle Rittenhouse felt it was his job to protect his community.
But it wasn't like actually his, like it's like
Yes,
I'm trying to be like blunt and straight up. It was like actually
Okay, do you
like
have
Fanon's
do you
dog
have a
because
really
he's, like,
good?
a
It wasn't
law
no, it was
enforcement
not his
officer.
community, but do you have a really good friend in your life?
So you're trying to debate me on the merits of the Kyle Rittenhouse case? Like
No, I'm trying to debate you on. Do you have a really good friend in your life?
Do I have a
Don't
really good
deflect
friend in
the
my life?
question. You're deflecting me.
Well, I'm just not so sure in what your argument is. So let me like parse through this. You're trying to make
Go ahead.
some comparison between Kyle Rittenhouse and Officer Fanon.
Yes, it was the same thing. What you just said. You said he was there, willingly knowing to put himself into a situation.
So you're saying that if I say it was Rittenhouse's fault that happened to him, I'd also have to say it was the cop's fault that it happened to the cop? Is that your
How
argument?
would you not? Did he have to be there that day?
Did he have to be? Did Fanon have to be there that day?
Yes. Did he have to be there? Was he on duty scheduled for that day to be there? You just said no, he was not. He clocked it anyways and went there to protect something, right? Protect what? The Capitol.
So
what did Kyle Rittenhouse do?
So
He
I
went
just
to
have a
protect-
question. Do you think that the actions of DJ Rodriguez towards Fanon were justified?
Say that one more time.
Do you think that the actions of DJ Rodriguez towards Officer Fanon were justified?
How you mean? Let me ask you this: Describe.
You're not
justified.
gonna justified like okay or permissible.
How do
know?
you describe?
Like I would like to say this as well. You know, like if there was a cop at the BLM riots, like standing in front of like a business trying to prevent people from like stealing the shit inside of the business. And the next thing you know, you got a bunch of people that are like beating this cop for like just simply like standing in front of the business, not like being aggressive or anything, and then taking his gun, trying to kill him, driving a stun gun into his neck. I would say they'd be guilty just like DJ Rodriguez. So, I mean, if you're trying to make it like a comparison, like, I mean, I feel like a better comparison for you would be to just literally place a cop at like a protest or a riot and, you know, run the same scenario on him. Sure, that's also wrong.
There you go again. You talked about Kyle Rittenhouse was not supposed to be there. You said he shouldn't have been there.
I don't understand. I'm still confused on how Kyle Rittenhouse comes into this.
Because you said it wasn't his. Because I'm talking about the cop, and we're talking about everything you're talking about. You said Kyle Rittenhouse shouldn't have been there. Wasn't his state. Wasn't his place. He was there to protect his friend's property.
Okay.
His friend. That cop was there that day to protect the Capitol off duty.
So no, Officer Fanon was on duty. That's why he had a body cam on. That's why he had his gun with him.
Okay,
That's
yes,
why
he
had a stun
clocked
gun
in,
with
but
him.
he wasn't supposed to be there on duty. He volunteered.
So you think that Kyle Rittenhouse was just doing the same thing the cop was doing? Okay, I disagree with you, but we're not really here to debate that.
How do you disagree with that? Because he literally he volunteered.
If it was
to protect
listen,
his,
if it was more relevant, I'd tell you. But I just like don't think it's too relevant to the overall
How
picture
is
of like
that
why
not-
is Trump a
is
good
this
president.
How's that not just as relevant? Okay, now you want to go deflect it to how is Trump a good president?
Wait, that's not a
Really?
deflection. That's the purpose of the live
Oh,
stream.
you deflect it to why is Trump a good president when I got a debate with
Cody,
you about something else.
can you read the question on top of my head?
We done read that. I asked
Read it
you
out
that when
loud.
I-
Read it out loud.
Do you still support Trump?
There we
Yes.
go, right? So like the reason why I'm telling you like a debate about like what happened to Rittenhouse or like what Rittenhouse did isn't relevant is because regardless if what Rittenhouse did was justified or unjustified, this wouldn't inform us about anything to do with the efficacy of Donald Trump's administration, right? You know? So it's like I'm willing to like entertain the prompt enough to like kind of share with you my thoughts. Like, I think that Rittenhouse had a technical claim to self-defense, but I think that Rittenhouse is a huge POS that put himself in that position so he could get away with, like, illegally killing people. My evidence for this would be, like, hanging out with white supremacists. My evidence for this would be, like, walking around with a Klan. You know what I mean? My evidence for this would be posting up with the neo-Nazis. And that's kind of my position, right? But I mean, if you want to have like an in-depth back and forth conversation and debate over like the moral justification surrounding Rittenhouse and what it did, I'm just not going to be here to have that with you just because regardless if he was justified or not justified, at the end of the day, this isn't going to inform us much on if Donald Trump is a good or a bad president. You know what I mean? I feel like that's fair.
You got my mic muted, but yes, I feel like a lot of things is fair. I feel like the questions I was asking you is fair, and you literally deflected the conversation to how do you support Trump is what you did to me.
No brain.
No
brain.
No, bro. We was talking about something, and then all of a sudden you deflected it.
Cody, this is like walking in to your local ice cream shop and then them
No, it's
asking,
not. This is
listen,
you
listen,
cutting
listen to
people
what I
off when
listen to what I
you
have to
can't
say.
answer it.
Listen to what I have to say. This is like you walking into your local ice cream shop and then them asking you if you want ice cream, and then you being like, oh, that's totally irrelevant. Why are you deflecting? This bears absolutely no relevance with why I'm in the shop right now. Dude,
That would not.
why are you asking me if I want ice cream even though I'm standing in the ice cream shop? Irrelevant, totally not relevant at all. What the fuck are you doing? Where is that coming from? Why are you asking me that? No, like, okay, yeah, we're on a debate live talking about if Donald Trump is a good president or not. When I'm asking you if you think he's a good president and why, this isn't a deflection.
Is
very
Donald
fair.
Trump still a good president? Yes, in my opinion. If you want to know why, I liked what he did with
do.
Venezuela just a minute ago. So there you go. Now you want to get on topic about that, so you can try to burn me on that one?
Okay, so you like what he's doing with Venezuela. So we're like
I
possibly
like what
ramping up for
what he
war.
did. I liked what he did.
So like right
I
now,
liked what he did.
right now our military is doing shit in Puerto Rico, like planning war strategy if we were to get into a conflict with Venezuela. So if you
Correct.
think that we should be involved in like more war, more conflict, this means that when he was running for president and he was like saying that he was pro peace, like you didn't like that because you didn't want peace, you wanted war.
Well, he don't want. He's not asking for war. He took care of a problem, and there's nobody asking for. Where's a war even being mentioned at?
Like
There's
I just
no
said,
war
like
even being
they're running drills in Puerto Rico. Seems like global tensions are increasing. And by the way, all I'm gonna say, right? If we're gonna be taking out a boat of like 11 people, you know, do we know that there was DRUGS on board? Do we know?
Yeah, definitely. Me and you know we do not.
How do we know that?
Our government knows that. You will never figure that out. I will never figure that out. You should know that.
Okay. Well, I mean, I would just simply suggest maybe before killing 11 people, we should take a little bit more of an in-depth review to ensure that we're killing them with good reason.
Let the people know. Is that what you're saying? Let the people know instead of just the government and their operations and what they do.
You know what? Actually, yeah. If we like kill 11 people in the middle of international waters and we accuse them of like being DRUG traffickers, I would really appreciate more transparency from the government towards us and explaining why we did that and you know the evidence that we possess to know that they had DRUGS on board. Yeah, I would.
How do you think so? How would they? Democrat or Republican party, any party, do you think they'd really just take to us people and say, we're going to give you this much information before we just...
Absolutely. If they're going to glorify, acknowledge, and like syndicate the clip of us killing them everywhere, like the least we could do is expect like that same glorification in circulation of like the evidence surrounding the fact that they had DRUGS on board, you know? Just like hyping up random clips of killing people is kind of weird.
Well, okay, that's just like, you know, what will happen with Iran. You'd want more, would you want more detail on their nuclear situation or?
Well, actually, yes. Can we agree that we should have more details on Iran's nuclear situation?
I'd agree we should always have more detail, but we're
Wow.
never
Well,
going to get
then you shouldn't like Trump because he pulled us out of the JCPOA, in which gave us 24/7 access to surveillance and oversight over all of Iran's nuclear facilities, and even forced them to deconstruct all the machinery required within to enrich it to the certain extent to create nuclear weapons. Donald Trump pulled us out of that agreement.
Okay, look what Kennedy did. He stopped us from the missile crisis. I mean, do we get any information on that? Look into that.
Can you respond to the point that I just gave you instead of pivoting?
No, okay, I won't pivot. Go ahead. You give me what you just said again. I'll listen to it, and then I'll give you an answer. Sorry about that. I won't pivot, sir. Go ahead. Give me another.
I think I'm done with you, Cody. You've been up on my live like 10 times. I'm sorry, man. I made the executive decision to cut it off. But if you're curious what I wanted you to respond to, it's the fact that Donald Trump actually pulled us out of a deal in which gave us 24/7 access to surveillance and oversight over all of Iran's nuclear facilities. And he pulled us out of that deal. It was called the JCPOA in 2018. Welcome in. What's up? Do you support Trump?
Hey, Dim. Yeah, exciting to...
What's that? Yo, did this guest just cut off for anyone else? Yeah, they did. Hop back in that queue, bro. No clue what happened. What's up, Crystal? Do you support Trump? Crystal?
No way.
No way?
No.
Let's go,
I do
dude.
not.
Based Crystal W in that chat. We're going to move on to that next Trump supporter. Hop in that queue. If you are pro-Trump, we'll get you loaded into the live. We'll have a good conversation. Hey, oh my God. Holy fuck. Yo, Amber. Thank you so much for the $250 donation on Venmo. Holy shit. Amber with a 250 says, for educating and trying to make America a better place. Thank you for all that you do. Amber, that is so incredibly kind of you. Holy fuck. Thank you so much for the love, Amber. A billion times over. Let's get 2,000 Amber W's. That is so much money. Holy shit. I don't deserve a penny of that. I really appreciate you for being here, and I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best to make critical thought a little bit more attractive. I'm trying my best to, change minds. And I really appreciate you for your love. Amber, seriously, I don't deserve a penny of that. That is so much money. And in fact, we have another couple big ones. This is insane. As well as Brooklyn with its $69 on Venmo for the way you bone these dorks. That's pretty funny. Thank you for the $69, Brooklyn. That is also so incredibly generous. Show some love to Amber and Brooklyn down below. And then two other people, Jessica with the $30, saying, democracy. Keep up the great work, Dean. You speak for every sane person who recognizes that Trump and his followers are terrible. Well, thank you so much for the love, Jessica. The same thing I said to Brooklyn and Amber. Appreciate you for being here, and thank you for your $30 donation, as well as Nick with the $50. You guys are being so fucking kind. What the hell is going on right now? Nick with the $50 says, thank you for the work that you do. You're way more patient than me. Let me tell you, Nick. Let's get 500 Nick W's, 700 Brooklyn W's, 300 Jessica W's, and 2,000 Amber W's. But Nick, the patience was developed. It's not like a skill that I had. It was something that I learned. I literally learned it. And it's been hard, but I feel like I've finally gotten to a point where I'm decently patient with these people. It's hard sometimes though, but thank you for the $50. As well as Sarah, thank you for the $10 on Venmo, Paige with the $10 as well, and Elizabeth with a 5. You guys are incredibly kind. Show some love to all of our donors down below. Seriously, you guys, I really, really appreciate y'all so very much for the love. And what is going on? Welcome in. Devin, do you support Trump?
Of course I do, man.
How old are you?
19.
Okay, what year are you born in?
06.
Are you driving?
Kinda. I'm at work right now, so.
Unfortunately, you cannot be driving while you're on TikTok Live. We got to move on. Go ahead and hop in that queue. If you support Trump, we'll get you up here. As well as Sophia, thank you for the $24 over on PayPal. Show some love to Sophia down below in that chat, y'all. Sophia, that is incredibly kind of you. Thank you so much for the love. While we're getting Aaron up here, Sophia says, hey, Dean, I'm Sophia from Switzerland, and I watch your live stream every day as a nightly routine. Lots of love. Hell yeah, Sophia. How is it over there in Switzerland? Dude, I want to go to Switzerland so bad. Out of all the countries in the world that I want to be to, Switzerland has got to be on the top 5. I appreciate you for being here. And yeah, hope you like it out there. Switzerland. Sounds sick. Let's go to move on to that next guest right now. We got Joelle loading up. As well as Lily. Thank you so much for the $55 donation on PayPal. Hey, thank you so much, Lily. It's good to see you as well. That's Lily with 2 L's. Lily says, haven't watched for a while, and today I just needed to. My grandpa died this morning. And after watching your live for only 10 minutes, I'm already slightly feeling better. Lily, I'm really sorry to hear that happened to your grandpa, man. You've been hanging out with us for a while. Seriously, for the last month or two, I've seen your name pop up so much. I'm really sorry that happened to you. My condolences to you as well as your family. And I know how hard, a death in your immediate family can be. Just know that know that, me and everybody else in the community over here on TikTok and YouTube are keeping you in our prayers, regardless if that's literal and we're religious or metaphorical, and just trying to give you a sign of our condolences. Sending all the love. Sending all that love. We're going to go to get that next guest loaded into the live right now. Please, chat, show some love to Lily. And once again, I'm really sorry that happened to you, your family, and your grandpa. What's up? Do you support Trump? No, they're gone. All right, moving on. Please hop in that queue if you support Trump. We'll get you loaded up here. We're just looking for anybody. We got Kyle Hammond loading up. Hey, as well as David. Thank you for the $20 on Venmo. Show some love to David. They say long-time lurker, first-time donator. Keep on doing what you're doing, brother. This message is funded by the DNC. Hell yeah, David. Appreciate you for being here. Thank you for that DNC paycheck. What's up? Do you support Trump, Kyle? They are definitely driving, so I got to kick them while we're trying to find the next guest. Holy shit, it's so hard today. What is going on? What is going on? As well as Liam, thank you for the $15 on PayPal, saying, love the content, man. Keep it up. MAGA is such a terrible thing for young, immature minds. I agree, right? The more willing you are to accept misinformation, the more disposed you are going to be towards becoming a part of the mob mentality of MAGA. And unfortunately, the younger you are, in a lot of circumstances, you're just more likely to accept that misinformation. Now, that's like not always true. There's also a lot of like older people that are also incredibly likely to. I think that it's kind of like a curve. Super likely to, you get less likely as you grow up, but then you hit like 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and then you become more likely to accept misinformation. But that is definitely why we see a trend in like younger Gen Z to be on the right. And you know, like the purpose of the live is seriously just to try to incentivize people to think more rationally. And I appreciate that. Thank you so much for the love. What's up? Do you support Trump?
you were going. Fuck Donald Trump.
Yo, based, but I gotta ban you because we're only looking for Trump supporters. Moving on to the next guest. Here we go. Also, chat, a haircut is coming. My hair has gotten too long, quite frankly. A haircut is coming. As well as Audrey, thank you for the $10. Thank you so much for the love. Thank you, Audrey. As well as Andrew for the 10. Thank you so much, Andrew.
Oh my god, I did not mean to request.
No worries, I'll kick you. Andrew says you should ask the cultists what they think about him saying domestic violence shouldn't be illegal. So apparently that happened today. I'm not gonna lie, like I didn't do any of my regular research before I started the stream. I just kind of hopped on. Can anybody send me a resource on that? As well as Janelle with the $5. Thank you so much.
Did I really just get into this live?
No, you did not. Fetus. Moving on. Trying to find a Trump supporter. We got Lou loading up. MAGA is extinct, guys. They're so gone. What's up? You support Trump? Gone. Dude. Where's MAGA? By the way, if I saw you in Boulder, it was a pleasure meeting you. Dude, I went to a CU game out there. Probably met like a couple hundred of you guys. It was kind of overwhelming, but I tried to be like as nice to everybody as possible. It was kind of crazy though. It was kind of crazy. It got pretty crazy. I had to end up leaving. But there was a couple people that claimed to be a fan that I am royally pissed off at. Royally pissed off at. If you ever see me in public, please be respectful to me and those around me. Because when I was in Boulder, I had my girlfriend with me. Of course, you guys don't know who she is because I'm not public about it. But she had people push her to the ground and like physically like hit her and shove her to the ground to get to me, to take pictures. So if you ever see me in public, please don't do that. Even if it's like not my girlfriend. That's just something that you shouldn't do to anybody. But if you're especially like trying to take a picture of me, especially my girlfriend, but that's something you shouldn't do to anybody, period. What's up, Drew? Do you support Trump?
Indeed, I do.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah, we cut our day short once that happened. We left. We left that game. Is she okay? Yeah, no, she's okay, but I mean, it was just a lot to deal with, man. Like, it was just a lot to deal with. It was obviously a lot to deal with. What's up? Do you support Trump? No, they're not here. We're gonna move on to the next guest. Everyone, just give us a minute. We got Aaron loading up into the stream. What's up? Do you support Trump? All right, we're going to move on. Give us a minute. All right, moving on to Alex. All right, Alex is not here. Yo, dude. Okay, we're getting crickets from MAGA right now. Is there any Trump supporters in here? What's up? Do you support Trump?
Yes.
How old are you?
18.
What year were you born in?
January 2007.
January of 2007? Okay. Calm down on the mic there, my friend. And sounds good. Awesome. Let's have a conversation about why you support Trump. Quickly before you do, I would like to thank Danielle and Stephanie for the $50 each over on PayPal. You guys, that is so fucking kind of you both. Please show some love to both Danielle and Stephanie down below. Let's get 500 Danielle W's and 500 Stephanie W's. Danielle says, welcome back. Dude, good to be back and good to see you, Danielle. Thank you so much. As well as Stephanie says, hey, Dean, listening again from Scotland. International news should have me terrified of Trump, but I listen in every night as you give me hope. Dude, good to have you here, Stephanie, and all the love to Scotland. Yeah, but no, seriously, Danielle and Stephanie, that is incredibly kind of you both, as well as Antoinette with a $10 saying keep fighting the good fight. I appreciate that, Antoinette. Then Liam with a $10. Thank you so much for the love, and I'll take a look into the EO. Okay, awesome. We that last guest left. I did. Oh my god. Yeah, we're gonna have to hold off thinking the donos until we could actually get somebody like on a conversation. I gave him an opportunity to have second thoughts about debating me because my attention went to Danielle and Stephanie for like 30 seconds. Thank you both so much, seriously. While we're now trying to find another Trump supporter in a world that is increasingly anti-Trump, which is a good thing. Very good thing. The day where we no longer have any Trump supporters in the queue is the day that I take a vacation to the Caribbean and drink pina coladas on a beach. All right. I'm not even joking. I will be doing that. I will be doing that, you guys. The moment Trump is no longer in office, I'm going to be taking a vacation to the Caribbean. That is my plan. That is my plan. The moment nobody's left that supports him, I'm drinking that pina colada, okay? And getting a crazy tan. Okay. All right. Who's next? Right now, we're not really seeing many people in the queue that look like they're actual Trump supporters. MAGA is in retreat, everybody. What's up? Do you support Trump?
Yeah.
Okay. How old are you?
18.
Okay. What year were you born in?
2006.
Okay. You actually can't be 18, born in 06. Get better at math. Looks like we have a bunch of kids that want to request up. Any like adults? Maybe? I don't know. Hey, Sarah, appreciate you for the $25 over on Venmo. And I read your message. That is incredibly kind of you. And I promise it will go to that cause. So thank you for the $25, Sarah. Let's get 250 Sarah W's down below and welcome in Ryan. Do you support Trump?
I do. To an extent.
Okay. Are you driving?
I'm not. I'm a passenger in the truck.
Okay. 1 second. Also, for everybody in the chat saying that you can be 18, born in 06, I'm sorry. You guys are right. The maths. This is like my third time doing that in the last week. I don't know why. It's so hard for me to accept that you could be 18 years old, born in 06. So that is my fucking bad. For that last guest, feel free to hop in that queue because the math does math depending on the month. Now, Ryan, just real quick to ensure that you're actually the passenger, could you have your driver say hey real quick?
Damn.
Yeah, you got. You got, Ryan. We're going to move on to the next guest. We got John loading up in here. Yoli, that is YOLI. Thank you for the $10 saying sending love from the Bay Area. I'm also a long-time lurker, first-time donor. Dude, well, thank you so much for being a lurker. Hell yeah. I appreciate you. Honestly, I bet that there's like a couple of thousand people in here right now. Hey, if you've like hung out in a couple of these streams and you've like lurked to the extent where you've never even said something in the chat, you should say what's good down below real quick. I'm just like curious. Are there any of you guys that have just like always lurked, never even typed in the chat, right? Like now's your time. I want you to speak up real quick. Let's see how many of you guys there is. Wow, there's a lot of you guys. Look at that. Yeah, we got all of our lurkers saying what's good down below. Beautiful, beautiful. What's up, Josh? You support Trump?
British.
Dude. Okay, so we got all like, all the lurkers saying what's good down below. If any of you lurkers happen to be a Trump supporter, hop in the fucking queue because this is outrageous. Okay? Okay, all right. This is getting to a point. What's up? Do you support Trump? Dude, okay. Joanna's just like not here. Peace out, Joanna, while we're looking for this next guest. Moving on to the next guest. Here we go, guys. Moving on right now. We got Jeremiah connecting to the live. What's up, Jeremiah? You support Trump? Bruh. Just a bunch of bots, dude. Just a bunch of bots. What's up, man? You support Trump, Ace? No. More bots. Oh, he's back. Hey, Ace. Do you support Trump, man?
I'm starting to.
You're starting.
I'm starting to.
You should stop that, Ace. Why are you starting to support Trump?
Because I think that is some people like Trump is necessary to weed out the Neanderthals of the society. I'm starting to think that Trump's antics is necessary for us to see who all is evil. That way we can know in the future generations not to go with these people. Coming from
We're going to move on. Yo, M! Thank you so much for the wolf. That's such a cool gift. Thank you, M. It's good to see you again. You were in here the other day. The other day, you also dropped a wolf. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you, M. That's very kind of you. As well as to that last guest, I'm going to tell you why I kicked you. So the reason why you would want to weed the evil people out of society is so society doesn't become evil, so people in that society aren't hurt. That's why you'd want to, like, weed the evil people out, right? But, like, ultimately, because Trump is president, he is hurting society because of those evil people and their support for him. So you're just allowing what you inevitably are saying you want to prevent. What's up? Do you support Trump?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can. Are you MAGA?
I have a really quick question for you.
I'm sorry. We're just looking to talk to people that support Trump. I'm sorry. We're going to move on to the next guest right now. Right now. What's up? You MAGA? Okay. Drew Williams is not here. Moving on to the next guest. Okay. All right. We're going to try to get that next guest up here. Bro. Okay. We're going to end here in like 10 or 20 minutes if we can't get anybody up here, unfortunately. Unfortunately. Okay. Trying to move on to the next guest right now. Mindy, thank you for the galaxy. I appreciate that. What's up, CV? You MAGA? No. See, if like everyone's like CV, which everyone has been for the last 20 minutes or so, is like just some like random droid in the queue that's just wasting my time. Won't even like say something. Like we are gonna have to move on. What's up? Do you support Trump?
I'm 56, born in 69, conservative. Okay with Trump, not completely impressed with him, but that's what I have to say.
Okay. You sound like you're talking to me through a Bluetooth device. Do you mind disconnecting? Like,
No, I have beats in my ear. Okay.
If you take the beats out of your ears, you'll sound a lot better. Is it possible you could do that for us?
Well, I'll tell you what, kick me, jackass, because you don't want to hear anybody say anything against you, okay?
I want to
I
hear
use
what you have to
beats
say.
because I'm hard of hearing, okay?
Oh, I completely get it. That'll work fine. We could hear you good enough.
I'm not trying to be. Look, what I'm trying to find in this world, Dean, because my whole family is Democratic,
Okay.
okay? And that's okay. What I want to find in this world is a way to come together. But the hate that is spread throughout the world is divisive. And it comes from both sides. And don't laugh. Don't laugh at me, dude. Do not laugh at me, okay? I've worked my whole life to be where I am.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I've seen you on many different platforms. And I'm just saying that my goal in life is to find a way for us to try to come together. And I can't tell you what that is. But anyway, go ahead, man. You're good. Okay?
Drew, on this fine afternoon, me and you are going to come together and have a very
My name is not Drew. My name is DCW on this app, okay? Not Drew.
DCW. We are going to come together and have a very nice, respectful, and productive political debate. Okay? So DCW.
All right, let's go.
DCW, let's hear it, okay? While I'm over here in my zen, okay? In my zen. You should be too. We're both in our zins here. Super kind, patient men, you and me. Why do you support Trump?
You missed me. I said I quasi support Trump. I'm a conservative person, okay? It's because of my ideals and the way I was raised as a person from my parents who were Democrats.
So what
Okay?
ideals, what values do you hold that align with that of the Trump administrations that makes you kind of support them?
I align with 2A. I align with women's right. You're going to laugh. That's fine.
Oh,
It's
I
okay.
wasn't
You can laugh.
wasn't laughing. I was hitting my
You're,
anxiety
you're going to
pin.
laugh at that. That's fine.
No, I was hitting my anxiety pin.
But
Don't laugh at my anxiety pin.
I'm not laughing at your anxiety. Okay? You laughed at me first. Okay?
Okay, go ahead.
I just align more with the Republican Party, not MAGA. Okay? You have certain ideals in your life that you align with. And if you disagree with that, that's okay, man. Okay? But it's just conservatism is a part of my life, not from my family.
Yeah. Well, listen.
From
Listen. Can I hop in here? So DCW, I'm gonna be honest. Like all like traditional conservative ideals, or at least like I shouldn't say all. Okay, that's false. At least the ones that you've listed so far seem to be like better protected by the left than the right today. Like for instance, your Second Amendment rights. Donald Trump is now trying to find a way to ban gun ownership for trans Americans. Okay. And this is so bad that even the NRA, who you probably
well,
love,
can you show proof of that?
Yeah,
You
for
may be
sure.
right. I'm going to honestly say you may be right with that. Okay, I'm not going to lie to you, but can you show me proof of that?
Yes. Okay. All right. So you could find this by searching up Justice Department talks about banning transgender gun owners.
No. You brought it up, so you show it. Okay, that's the way docs go. You brought it up, you show it. If I bring up a doc, I'll show it.
Well, I'm giving you the title of the document, right? And that's
No, I'm not. I'm not going to research. If you bring up a doc that shows proof of what you're saying, you need to bring it up, not me.
So do you mean like a screenshot on your screen?
I don't care how you bring it up. Show it to me.
I could do that. I'm a nice guy.
Well, let's see it then. Let's see.
I could do that. I'm a nice guy. Listen, I am being patient today, Drew. Very patient. We're going to get that one pulled up right now, my friend. Let's get that right now. Okay. So
I'm waiting for it.
We're gonna read this title together. This is coming in from ABC. It says Justice Department. Oh, we gotta get it a little bit smaller here, my friend. Justice Department talks about banning transgender gun owners and how this is sparking fury across the political spectrum. Of course, you could find this reporting on your phone by just simply typing this or something similar into Google after you leave this live. Now, this is in blatant violation of the Second Amendment. And in fact, even the NRA, the NRA, who you probably love, agrees with me. In response to
No,
Trump's-
actually, can I answer that? No, I don't love the NRA. Do you understand why? I was an NRA member for a long time. I got so tired of the NRA asking for money all the time, I dropped out of the NRA. Okay?
Okay.
I did.
Okay. Well,
Laugh at me if you want, buddy. I mean, laugh at me if you want, man. People say, "Why is he so mad?" Because you laugh at me because when I tell you the truth, that's what frustrates me. You tell me the truth, I'll tell you the truth, bud. Okay?
No, listen, I'm not laughing at you for like quote unquote telling me the truth. I'm just kind of like laughing at the idea of like you like sharing that with us. Like it's kind of funny. Like you don't like the NRA because they asked you for a lot of money. Like I don't know, it's slightly comedic. Like I get it, but it doesn't like demean like the comedic value to that statement.
No, what I didn't like is Wayne Lafayette calling me every other day asking for money. Okay,
I want to
support
listen.
it.
I get it. Okay, I get it. It's just like kind of silly. You know what I mean? It's like it's not even like it's not, you're not it's
Silly
just,
on who? Silly on who? Me or him?
It's just a silly story in general.
Why is it silly? Because you're tired of getting bot calls asking for money repeatedly after you donate to an organization?
No, it's like funny that it upset you so much to the extent where it's like you don't like the NRA as a whole. Like that's kind of funny. It's like so
I
upset,
don't.
upset you
Well,
so
look.
much, you know?
No. Okay. Let me restate. I support the NRA, but I'm not a member. Okay.
Okay.
Because of because of their policies. Okay. Calling people all the time who are members, asking for money repeatedly every single day.
Okay.
Okay. That's why I'm not in the NRA anymore.
Okay.
I support what they do to a certain extent, and
Okay.
you know what I'm saying.
I get
Anyway.
it. I
Okay.
know what you're saying.
Okay. All right.
Moving
Okay.
on. Moving on. So back to my point. You said that you might have some support for Trump because you support conservative values like defending your Second Amendment.
Yeah, I'm not going to
But
stop
once again,
crying in the comments. Okay, I'm not crying. Okay, I'm standing here as an adult trying to
Listen.
talk to a young man
Listen,
that we're
again.
trying to have a conversation with. So y'all can hit me in the comments all you want. I came up here to be to talk, and
Okay.
he's accepted me, and I appreciate that.
Listen.
But don't come at me in the comments because I have a different opinion of you. Okay.
I'm telling
All
you,
right.
the comment section is brutal. If I was
I don't
you,
care, buddy.
if
I'm
I was you,
thick-skinned, buddy.
I know. Now is a good moment for that thick skin to show. What I would recommend is just for you to ignore the comment section. They are brutal down there. Okay, listen, that's my comment section, and I will say this about them. They're really brutal. Okay, sometimes too brutal. Right now, I think the comment section is being a little too brutal on you. I just recommend hiding, like maybe taking your hand, put it over the. Talk to me, okay? Look in my eyes. Talk to Dean. Now that you're talking to Dean,
All right, Dean. I'm still waiting for you to convince me not to be a Republican. Okay, I'm still waiting for that. Okay.
Well, I'm trying to make a point here. You're
Well,
telling us you have. That was really rude. But I have thick skin, so it's okay. Super thick skin. I'm not crying at all. Okay, back to what I was saying. So you said that you have some quasi support for the Trump administration because you value the Second Amendment. Well, guess what? The Trump administration doesn't value the Second Amendment. In their first term, Donald Trump passed the bump stock ban, which SCOTUS later ruled is unconstitutional. And now in his second term, once again, they're floating the idea of banning gun ownership for all trans adults that is so against our Second Amendment. Now, the NRA is even coming out in vocal backlash against this decision that they're floating around is making.
well, hey,
We have
guess
the
what?
NRA
If I find out that what you're
defending
saying
trans
is
Americans.
true, I can agree with that.
Right?
Okay.
Right? And then
Because
it's,
you don't ban them for anybody.
right, and then
I
it's
can
like
agree with
then
you.
it's like what is the argument there? It's like the Trump administration wants to ban gun ownership for trans people because they don't like trans people. Listen, if you're not trans, you should care about this because point number one, right? It's just discrimination of individuals because they're trans. And point number two, what if there ever comes a day where he doesn't like you and illegally tries to take your Second Amendment rights away?
I'll take my chances with that. Okay, but you're right. I will agree with you that if what you're saying is true, and I will research it when we get off of this live. Okay, I really will. Okay, because I always do.
Right.
If what you're saying is absolutely true, and I find that out, I disagree with that. Okay, but that's one point. That's one point I disagree with. I agree with you on. Okay, that's cool. That's
Perfect.
cool. We can agree with.
So in that one point, right, demonstrates why you shouldn't have any support for the administration rooted in 2A. So what are some of the other points why you support the Trump administration?
Oh, wait a minute.
Well,
one point says I shouldn't have support for the
rooted
the
in that
whole
reason.
administration.
Do you have any other reasons? I'll go over all your reasons with you. What are your other reasons to kind of support the Trump administration?
Deportation, I agree with.
You shouldn't. Deportation is very bad. Hurts you, hurts the country.
Nope. I
Yes.
agree with it because I'm in construction and I understand deportation. Okay.
You're in construction.
I run a construction company.
So
I run a construction company.
if you run a construction company, then you agree that 1 out of every 7 construction workers is an undocumented immigrant. What would happen if we were to remove the 8.3 million undocumented workers in the workforce, including those that are in construction? And what would the reciprocal effects of that be, not only on your business, because maybe now there'd just be an overall like labor shortage in the immediate market, but then also on the economy as a whole. According to the American Immigration Council, our GDP would fall by 1.1 trillion through 1.7 trillion dollars per year, and we'd spend $2 trillion in the next 10 years to get it done. You'd be getting less work. There'd be less workers. The productive capacities of our manufacturers, and your company included, would go down, and our economy would significantly suffer.
Okay. Can I speak now?
Yeah.
All right. My opinion is figure out a way to get undocumented workers to get a work card. Okay. So they can pay taxes like all of us do.
Point number 1, undocumented immigrants actually already pay $100 billion per year in taxes. Point number 2, figuring out a way to
Oh
get
yeah,
documented.
no, they don't, buddy. Okay, all right. Stop right there. Let me tell you something. All right, so as a superintendent, I knew how immigrants came across the border from a bricklayer that worked for me. 10 immigrants had the same social security number. One is paying taxes. That's it. They pay a fee to a person to get them across the border to come here and work. All right, 10, 12, 15 of them. One
So,
of them gets a social security number. They all share it. They share it to different employers. One person pays taxes. Okay,
so if they
so I know that
all,
for a fact.
if
For
they,
a fact.
okay, well, point number 1, that's identity fraud. Undocumented immigrants are 3 times less likely than citizens to commit identity fraud.
Well, guess
per
what? That makes them a
PNAS.
criminal. If that makes them a criminal, if they did identity fraud, that makes them a criminal. So that
That
makes them a
does.
criminal.
Yeah.
And first, if they came over
If you
here
commit
illegally,
identity fraud, that is a crime.
that also makes them a criminal.
Okay. Well, I would allow.
Yeah, tell them
a
to get lost. I'll
chance.
tell you what, I'll get lost.
I would allow you to give me a chance to finish here. So I brought up the fact that undocumented immigrants pay taxes, and that's true. Did you know that the IRS tells us that undocumented immigrants pay $100 billion in taxes per year? And then also, for like all of those undocumented workers that you just suggested, all working under the same SSN, that tells me that they're working over the table as a W-2 employee, or else they wouldn't need the SSN in the first place. By the way, you don't even need an SSN. You can have an ITIN. They're just doing it a different way. Meaning that every single paycheck that is collected by every single one of those undocumented immigrants, their immediate employer takes out the taxes, then gives it to the government. But because they all share only one social security number, only one of those 10 undocumented immigrants can claim a tax return, meaning that those 10 undocumented immigrants that you pointed out pay a higher effective tax rate than the average American.
No, because they work for an unscrupulous type person, buddy, and they don't do what you're saying.
Then
They
why
are
do they
also
even?
breaking.
Then why do they even need the social
They are
security
also
number in the
breaking
first
the
place?
law.
Then why do they even need the social security number in the first place?
They work for a documented immigrant that allows them to do that. Okay, that's what happens.
Okay, well then the social security number has nothing to do with their employer as they're working under the table.
You're missing it. You're missing it, Dean. They are all using the same social security number. You can deny it all you want. I don't care.
Okay, all right.
It's a fact.
Listen, if they're working under the table, then they don't need the SSN. That's a fact. But what else is a fact is that
Oh
per
my
year
God.
undocumented immigrants as a demographic pay $100 billion per year in taxes. That's a fact. Did you know that?
Is that in federal taxes or local taxes and stuff like that?
Federal, state, and
Federal
local.
taxes?
Federal, state, and
How?
local.
How are they doing it? Because they do not have a right to file taxes.
They do.
Tell me how they do that.
They do.
Please.
They have a right to
How?
file taxes.
Explain
and
that
work
to
it-
me then.
Of course.
Explain that to me then.
Undocumented.
No, explain it to me.
I'm explaining it to you right now, my good friend. Undocumented immigrants can legally work under a work permit through an ITIN, which you could get from irs.gov.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't even get it. You do not even get it.
That's the truth.
How about the 400 that just got deported in that Kia plant? Tell me how they were filing taxes.
How about
Tell me that.
How
The
about
400 Koreans. Hold on, don't pivot. Don't pivot. The 400 Koreans that got deported from that Kia plant.
they were paying
They got a
taxes through
big
ITINs?
Bullshit. You're wrong.
Do you
You're
wanna-
absolutely wrong.
Would you like a source?
Yeah, let's see the source.
Okay.
You cannot show me the source that those 400 people were paying taxes.
Well, how about Republican House? I'm
Republican House.
I'm literally just gonna show you the very first the very first search result. This is great. I'm gonna also show you my Google search alongside the first search. You're a visual learner. I get it. It's okay. It's okay.
Oh, they were undocumented. Oh, screw you, dude, man! Don't insult me, jackass.
Whoa! Nothing is insulting about being a visual learner. That was like more so just like a joke about
Oh,
how
I'm
you've asked.
fucking out of here, man. Fuck you, dude.
No,
You
look at-
suck.
No,
No, I'm
stop.
gone.
No. Aww. Oh. He left. Aw, fuck. He didn't want to talk to me. Is it me? No, I'm just kidding. What the fuck? What the hell is going on with that guy? What the hell is going on with that guy? I was being so nice to him. Hey, dude. You know what that guy needs? He needs to move to Colorado and get some of that guana. That's what he needs. We're going to move on to the next guest. If you're in that queue, make sure it's because you support Trump. All right. Let's go move on to the next guest, guys. Oh, God. All right. We got TCT loading up in that box. What's up? Do you support Trump? Yeah, now I got all the Coloradians in the comment section pissed off saying, we don't need him. We don't need him. Yeah, man. I got to say, Colorado already has enough people like that, especially where I live. So I was telling you guys about this last week, but right after my 21st birthday, I bought a gun for self-defense because of what I do. And this morning, I finally picked it up. And it was funny because as I was picking it up, some other dude walked up to the counter. You know, he's like looking at the guns. We're in Mesa County, 80% red, Sportsman Warehouse, gun counter. Some 75-year-old dude with a long white goatee. He walks up, starts looking at the guns. And I'm talking to the guy that's selling me the gun about like gun control. I was just going through it. It was like interesting being on, on the side of buying a firearm, experiencing the gun control. I was talking to him about it. But then the big Republican walks up, big old husky white guy, right? He's like, let me tell you about that gun control. It's the fault of the Democrats. It's those pesky Democrats. It's them goddamn diddly damn Democrats. God, yeah, maybe we don't need more people like that in Colorado. We're going to move on to the next guest. All right. We got Kennedy loading up. What's up? Do you support Trump?
Dean, I love you!
Oh my God. Oh my God. Fucking hell. Fucking hell. And you know, like the gun control in Colorado, it's like not even that bad. You know, like honestly, like I'd vision a little more, right? In Colorado, you know, you just got to like pass a background check. You know, that's all. Pass a background check. Here's a gun. Pass a background check. You know, this guy's over here like, what the fuck you mean I gotta pass a background check? How am I supposed to hide? How am I supposed to keep it a secret that when Trump lost the election in 2020, I tried to fucking kill my congressman in January 6th? The goddamn Democrats are making me do a background check. Jesus Christ. Okay. Moving on to the next guest. We got Bebo loading up in. What's up? You support Trump, Bebo?
Yes.
How old are you?
I am 19.
Okay, what year are you born in?
2006.
What month?
June.
Awesome. Let me thank a couple people here. First and foremost, Joshua. Thank you so much for the $50 over on Super Chat. That's incredibly kind of you. Thank you so much. Joshua with a 50 says, that last guy without a doubt is one of the biggest triggered snowflakes I've heard on this live in a year of listening. I laugh in your face, sir. You're throwing childlike tantrums. Quote unquote, thick skin is a bigger lie than Trump stopped this deal. That guy was a fucking baby. I'm going to be honest. But thank you for the $50, Joshua. That is incredibly kind of you. Let's give 500 Joshua W's down below in the comment section. As well as I'd like to very quickly thank Hannah for the $25 over on Venmo. Thank you so much, Anna. Anna with the 10. Shout out to Hannah and Anna. As well as Kaylin, Kahlyn with a $20. Says, Dean, I've been struggling with my mental health recently, and your streams help me out so much. I watch you all day, every day on YouTube, and I appreciate what you do. Listen, Kaylin, I'm so happy that what we do here can help. Seriously, man, I started doing these streams because my mental health was bad. It was an outlet, and it really helped me too. So I get it. Thank you so much for the $20. As well as Condra with the $12 saying that last guy was unhinged. Bless you. You and your patience. Thank you so much, Condra. Okay, man, take it away. Why do you support Trump?
I'd probably say because I feel like, I mean, I don't necessarily like directly support him, but like I feel like it was better than the other candidates in the previous 3 elections.
Okay, so basically, what you're telling me is you think that he was better than Harris. So go ahead and tell me why you think America would be worse off if Harris had won the election.
Well, one, she lied about the McDonald's. That picture is clearly photoshopped.
That picture was never released by her campaign, I think. We're thinking about the same thing.
But
Now, let's just start off with one. Okay, let's assume that you're right, even though you're not right. No, she worked at fucking McDonald's. But we're going to assume that she was a bold-faced liar. She lied about working at McDonald's. Let me ask you a question. What is more relevant? Lying about working at McDonald's when you're 16, or lying about the outcome of an election, trying to then rig the outcome of the election covertly, while also convincing 72% of all Republicans that they should also believe the election was stolen, all a big lie, and then doing so for the next 5 years straight? Oh.
I'm thinking right now. Hold on.
Yeah, think. Put those brain cells to work.
Let me ask you.
Oh, come on. Dude, listen, if you're gonna take this long to think, this is gonna be a long conversation. So Donald Trump told 34,000 documented lies in his first term. This is gonna take all night, man. Fuck. All right, think a little faster. Which one is a bigger lie?
Probably the Trump lie.
Okay, there we go. So point number one is dead. Dead in the water.
Okay, but listen. Why does Kamala change her accent whenever
Kamala.
she goes anywhere?
Her name's Kamala. Okay, so first and foremost, even assuming that Kamala Harris did legitimately change her accent for no reason at all, dependent on where she was, I would say that is preferable to a rapist. Right, but then even in your allegation of saying that she changes her accent for no reason at all, what you're going to be referring to here is code switching. Code switching is something that Black Americans do that speak AAVE, which is a perfectly valid vernacular of the English language developed through the transatlantic slave trade, because white Americans look at AAVE and they call it ghetto, uneducated, stupid nonsense. Okay, it's just product of racism. So when there's a black person that speaks AAVE, they'll speak it in front of a audience that understands that AAVE is not ghetto, uneducated, etc. Right? But then when they're in front of a majority white audience that may not get that upholds those racist stereotypes surrounding AAVE, they'll code switch and not speak in AAVE. But once again, assuming that code switching didn't exist, assuming that I'm just wrong, it wasn't AAVE, systemic racism wasn't real, white people don't stigmatize it, and she was just switching her accent for no goddamn reason, that is still preferable to the 34-count felon adjudicated rapist that was best buddies with Epstein. Case closed.
I did not know that existed. Thank you for telling me.
Of course.
Okay, so why do you think that Biden was a better president than Trump?
Well, I mean, we're getting a little bit off base now. Let's recenter around why you support Trump.
I mean, like, the BBB.
The big beautiful bill kicked 10 million people off of healthcare, 3 million people off of food stamps, cost $4.5 trillion, marking the most expensive bill in American history. And according to the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, is going to make your energy more expensive, increasing its price by an additional $500 per year per the average American household, while reducing the purchasing power for over 150 million American workers, making at or under $51,000 per year. That is one of the worst bills in modern American history. Why do you support it?
Because taxes, it takes away overtime taxes, and the people that just sit on Medicaid and acquire it and they can work, that's what the bill is for. The able-bodied person.
Yeah, so I disagree. I don't think that we should have a work requirement on Medicaid. If you're low income, you can work, and you're not working, you should still be able to access Medicaid.
But that's just being lazy, freeloading.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think that there's many explanations for why somebody is able to work and not working that don't necessitate laziness, right? But even in a scenario of somebody that is low income, can work, and is not working literally because they're lazy, I still think they should be able to get Medicaid, just like I think they should be able to get all other essential social safety nets that make society better off as a whole. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a lazy, low income American without a job or a really hard-working elementary school teacher. You should be able to call the cops to report a crime, even though that is a social safety net that is funded for and paid by the taxpayer. And why would we look at access to the hospital any differently when, just like the police force, the hospital saves lives? Just like the police force, hospitals extend people's lifespans. Just like the police force, hospitals make society as a whole better off.
Interesting.
Do you have a refutation of the position?
What do you mean by that?
Do you have a refutation of the position?
Refutation?
A response?
Oh. Not necessarily.
Okay. Gagged. I don't know. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay.
Remember my messages I sent you from...
Remember my messages? I do not remember your messages. We're going to move on to the next guest. Let's go and get that next guest loaded up in here right now. We got Chance connecting. As well as...
I'm so sorry, man. I did not mean to join in.
No worries at all, Chance. You have a good rest of your day while we're looking for this next Trump supporter. Let's go and get them loaded up right now. We got Jimmy Boy connecting into the stream. Yo, as well as Alex, my man. Thank you so much for the $100 donation over on PayPal. Alex, that's crazy. That is so much money. Thank you so much. Alex, with 100 big ones, says, keep up the good work. Alex, that is so incredibly kind of you. Thank you so much for the love. If everyone watching right now could show some love to Alex down below for the fucking huge donation, it would make my day. Thank you so much, Alex. As well as Shelby with $5 saying, tell Mama I said, pss, 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 pss. Oh, Mama's so cute, bro. I missed her when I was out in Boulder. We're back with her now, though. As well as Bree for the $5 on Venmo with a message attached saying, a white boy teaching another white boy about code switching. Well, you listen, I try my best in those scenarios. I do. And I think that, obviously at the end of the day, it is going to be significantly better for, like, for instance, like, somebody, that does code switch and understands more about it.
Hey, babe.
To be like a Black American that, like, directly feels the influence of systemic racism to comment on it just because they're going to know more. But at the same time, like, it's important, right, for, us white people to step up a little bit, I feel like Black Americans have been towing the line and doing all of the legwork for so long on combating racism and just educating people to a point, where we're hopefully diminishing the overall level of racism. I think it's time for white people to step up a little bit. We're going to go to get that next guest up in the live right now. What's up?
Oh my God, Dean Withers! Oh my God!
You were just here, right? How old are you?
Like, old.
We're going to go ahead and move on to the next guest, Jay. Oh, man. What's up? You sport Trump?
Oh, my bad.
No worries. All right. Guys, we're honestly coming up pretty close on our 4-hour stream. We're coming up pretty close. Yep, I'm going to be ending soon. Parker reached out. He's asking when I'm going to be ending. We're going to be ending here pretty soon, guys. We're going to hopefully try to get the last guest of the day up here. Aaron with the $5 on Venmo says, Dean, a new Epstein page was just released and it's very worth checking out ASAP. Let's see if any of the TikTok news bros have reported on it. Aaron Parnas, let's see if Aaron's reported on it.
He just released another page from Jeffrey Epstein's birthday book in which Epstein and another member of Mar-a-Lago were joking about selling a woman to Donald Trump. I'm serious. This is right from the House Oversight Committee. This is from Jeffrey Epstein's birthday book. It's literally them joking about selling a woman to Donald Trump for $22,500. This is a real page. It's an image of Epstein and I guess the other Mar-a-Lago person. Now, the White House can't claim that's fake. That's a real page. Now, Donald Trump obviously didn't sign that. It's not Donald Trump's writing. But they're joking about selling a woman to Donald Trump. Why would they be joking if Trump wasn't connected to Epstein in any way? That's the question that everyone needs to be asking at this hour. And I already debunked the fact that Trump didn't sign the letter in the previous video. He did sign it. We have proof. The proof is based on his signature, almost identical in other letters during that time. Spread the word so more people know. Follow along for all the news you need to know about. This is a bombshell. We have breaking news right now.
Holy fuck.
We have some big news right now. The Donald Trump White House says that it's not his signature on the Epstein birthday letter. He's lying, and I can prove it. This is the birthday letter released by the House Oversight Committee earlier today. That's the signature on it. Trump says that's not his. Exhibit A, a letter written in February 28, 1995. Look at that signature. Exhibit B, a letter written to Rudy Giuliani. Exhibit C, a letter written to Larry King, July 15th, 1999. Look at the signature. Exhibit D, a letter to Keith Olbermann, written in 20.
Holy shit. Why is everybody not like freaking out? Losing their shit. This should be like blasted on every media news outlet in America right now. Everybody with an active internet connection and a camera should be talking about this right now. Holy fuck. So here's a handful of things that we know. Point number 1. Trump was best buddies with Epstein. Point number 2. Epstein had a framed picture of them on his desk and was always talking to the women he would abuse about how close he was with Trump. Point number 3. We got this letter Trump sent to Epstein on his birthday in 2003. We've known about that one for a while. Included a picture of a naked woman in the statement, "May every new day be another wonderful secret." Point number 4. Now the White House is claiming that's not his signature. But we know it is by comparing it to his other signatures everywhere at all times. Point number 5. Epstein was talking to other people at Mar-a-Lago about selling a woman to Trump. On top of so much more. Okay. For everybody hanging out with us in here for the day, I'm going to go ahead and end my stream now. That was my last debate for the day. Because I'm now going to turn around and record a video or two talking about this and syndicate this everywhere. So you'll be seeing and hearing from me super duper soon on TikTok, super duper soon on Instagram. I need to do my part in making sure that as many people as possible know about this. So I'm gonna hop on board alongside all of the other TikTok news bros and get on it. Because everyone needs to know this shit. I love you all. I appreciate you so much for hanging out with us in the stream for the day. If you want to watch some more debates for the rest of the evening, head over to @ParkerGetAJob. You should be on right now. And yeah. This is getting like fatiguing at this point, man. It's been like every day for the last 250 days that some bombshell has dropped on Trump. And just nothing ever ends up happening. But obviously the solution isn't to stop talking about it. I don't know what the solution is, but I know it isn't to stop talking about it. So you'll be hearing from me soon on Instagram and TikTok. See you guys later. Peace and love. Good night.